What up, peeps? Welcome to the thekisscapadespodcast. I'm your host, John Telewa, aka thekissbandit. And in this show, we explore the key elements that shape our fulfilling existence, from health and well-being to financial success, meaningful relationships, and the pursuit of happiness. We cover it all. Our guests include experts, professionals, and everyday individuals who have remarkable stories to tell. Tune in to learn practical tips, gain valuable insights, and discover strategies for personal growth and transformation. Whether you're seeking to improve your health, build your wealth, enhance relationships, or find lasting happiness, we got you covered. Welcome to today's episode. So another amazing episode with a very special guest. And I think I'll just let her introduce herself before we get to the, nitty-gritties. We have a lot to talk about. So just tell the people your name, what you do, and then I'll take it from there.
Okay, my name is Tatiana Gicheru. I always struggle with that question for what do you do? I would say, first and foremost, I'm a student, officially in my fourth year. I do international studies. I'm an activist, and I'm passionate about using digital communication for social transformation.
And I guess, we've been seeing you, first of all, even I came across your profile because of the latest conversation that you started and it has just started the pod with a lot of influencers, brands and brand managers, but we do need voices like you in such a space. And unfortunately, most of the people that you might be working towards protecting and advocating for don't seem to be on your side.
I wouldn't say that's true because I don't think it's like most people.
Oh, not a majority.
Yeah,
sorry.
not a majority.
My apologies.
Yeah.
My apologies. Yeah.
No, but it's okay. I think I always encourage debate.
Yeah.
It's not just because I've said something that you have to agree with me, but when the facts are presented and they are right there. And for me, I they were glaring from the beginning, but I think just because of the circumstance of the event and the hopes that I had, and I think we can get into it more as the podcast continues, why I stayed, which has been such a thing, if you found it so exploitative, why didn't you just go home?
Were you present at the event?
Yes, I was there.
Okay. Okay, let's get to it then. Let's get to it. I want you to sit slightly straight on the seat.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Perfect.
Good.
Perfect. Yeah. So now, how was your experience and why exactly didn't you like it? Because I can just tell maybe the experience was good, was bad, but maybe it's the contractual duties that were demanded for. I mean, that's what maybe made you speak out.
I'll break it down the way I broke it down in my video.
Yes.
So I'll just do it again.
Okay.
So I applied for the Dentsu School of Influence, and it's basically, I just saw it online. Actually, I was on Jobsy, because I'm always on Jobsy because I'm unemployed. So I was on Jobsy, I was searching for jobs, and it came up. And usually when I apply, I don't just apply for paid opportunities. I'm okay with going through a mentorship or a training. So because I've been trying to build myself in the content creation space, and if you go to my pages, you'll see I've been doing digital activism since the mandamanos that happened in June.
Yeah.
That's when I launched myself as a creator for social transformation. Since then, all my content has revolved around femicide, SRHR, the government. Did I mention the government? So just for the record, especially because I think I've seen a lot of people online trying to discredit me that I've been chasing publicity. This is what I do. This is what I use my platform for. So I applied for the Dentsu School of Influence, and I got a call that I was shortlisted the day before the interview, which was on Saturday. We've been told, okay, you've been shortlisted, and the interview will be tomorrow, but it will be more of a socializing or networking event.
Just to clarify something before we proceed, was it a competition or was it an interview?
at that moment on Friday when I received that phone call, it was an interview. Okay. We weren't told anything else. We were just called and told it'll be the dopest interview ever. That's exactly what they called it, the dopest interview ever. And the following day, they said it was going to be the dopest interview of our lives, which I thought is very speculative because you don't know what my life is like. You don't know which interviews I've been for. It's very speculative. But anyway, that's me just being microaggressive. But, so we arrive on Saturday. And mind you, I had a meeting on Saturday that I had cancelled. And we had been planning for that meeting for like 3 weeks. I was like, guys, we have this opportunity, so I have to cancel. So keep in mind, I'm someone who has cancelled plans to be here. I arrived at 11 a.m. after waking up early and, getting myself ready and giving myself a pep talk. I don't know what to expect. I arrived at Social House, and it wasn't even in Social House. It was in an outdoor area. And we find that the setup is still being done. So I was already very ticked off by that. I think off camera, I said, time is a big pet peeve for me.
Yes.
If I tell you I'll be somewhere at a certain time.
What was the time of arrival?
It was supposed to be 11 a.m.
Okay.
That day I was even running late. I must have reached like 10 minutes after 11. I thought I was late. OMG, I'm late. Like nothing was happening. People were standing like in a line in the sun. And then when you try and stand in the shade, people are telling you, move. People are passing here, carrying heavy things. You need to move. And I was just
the setup now is being done.
Yeah, when we are there. So I was already so irritated. And at that point, I did consider leaving. But then, remember, I cancelled plans to be here, So I was just like, okay. And at the end of the day, you're anticipating an opportunity.
Yeah, you just never know.
Like, okay, let me just stay. What if I regret it?
They've said it's going to be the biggest thing that's happened in your life.
The dopest thing of our lives, exactly. So, about 1 hour later, finally something happens and they're giving us a QR code to scan. As we scan this QR code, it's a PDF outlining the requirements we'll have to meet for the interview to proceed. So basically...
you didn't know about this part?
No, we didn't know. And I thought they would have said that the day before. They wanted us to make content in real time. We were to post 1 reel, 1 TikTok, 10 Instagram stories, and we've been given a bunch of different hashtags to use. And we've been encouraged to tag the partners at the event. Even though it wasn't said like on the PDF, I think it was written like, you're encouraged to tag the partners, tag our partners. It didn't say like who to tag, but tag our partners. And then the partners are there, they are present.
Did you know that there were going to be brands or partners present at the
We didn't
interview?
know what to expect.
Okay.
Like you've just shown up and then you're being given this PDF and you're finding a big tent. Yeah, you knew it was going to be an event, networking, socializing event, but also an interview.
Yeah.
So you don't know what to expect,
True.
right? At the same time, they're saying there's going to be, partnership, speed dating. So people are going to be able to go and talk to different brand managers and just to talk to them and network with them. Okay, fine. So the event finally is about to start. This is now after, I think, 2 hours. And now another document is being passed around.
What?
It's a contract. Yeah. So now we've gotten the PDF and we know what we are supposed to do so that we can be selected.
Yeah. And
then we get a contract. The contract, I think on first reading it, the first thing that stood out to me, and I'm not a lawyer, but the first thing that stood out to me was no compensation. You're not allowed at any one point to ask for any compensation for any of the content that was made that day.
Yeah.
That's what stood out to me. And of course, reading this for the first time without my lawyer eyes, after standing in line in the heat for 2 hours just to get into the event, like, you just take the pen and you just sign. Because
wait. Hold on. I mean, here's the thing, and it's very important to understand, as once you're 18, a lot of legal documents, in fact, any legal document that you sign, says that you've actually agreed to the terms and conditions. But for your case, since you're an advocate or an activist with, like a lot of social issues, did you take your time to go through like everything?
I read the contract.
Yeah.
I said the first thing that stood out to me was no compensation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
which is okay. I mean, I didn't come there expecting compensation for anything, right?
It's an interview.
Yeah, it's an interview. Nobody gets paid for an interview. And someone rightfully said that on TikTok as if I don't know that. But yeah, I do know that. And I'll get to that later. I'll get to why I caused a fuss about it later.
Okay.
The other thing about full ownership, yes, I did understand that at the time I was signing the contract. So they'll have full ownership over the content that we produce that day. Yeah, so I also did understand that. And the other thing was no waiver, meaning you can't come and challenge them if they misappropriate the content that you made. For that, I saw it, but I didn't understand it.
Yeah, exactly. If now you understand it, can you explain like what that means?
Okay.
Maybe?
So basically, no waiver means, remember the first clause is full ownership.
Yeah.
So they have full ownership over the content that you produced that day. I think probably you would have had to use the hashtag. I don't know how it works, but like the content that you produced that day is theirs as long as you've posted it, right? So if they extract that content and edit it,
or use it on their platforms.
And use it on their platforms and whatever. But yeah, so if they use it on their platforms, no compensation means you're not allowed to ask for money just because you've seen that it's been used in an ad.
Okay.
No waiver means if it's been edited in a way that you don't like, or even in a way that misrepresents you and your brand, you cannot sue them.
Okay.
Yeah. Which the last part I understood later. But anyway, I signed the contract. Also, at the time I was signing the contract, I knew in my head that no content means no contract. You understand?
Yeah.
Like, if I don't post, they have nothing over me. So it's okay. And that's why I even said on TikTok, if you feel like you went and you posted and you feel like you signed the contract and you feel like you shouldn't have done that, all you have to do is delete the video.
Okay.
You know?
Makes sense.
That's all. So that's why I signed the contract. It's not that I was stupid or what, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I had already done so much to be there. I was going to get into that event.
And honestly speaking, just to jump in slightly a bit, you know, at times, like even jobs, I mean, I don't know if it's intentional or not. You can frustrate people a bit before you hand out those papers and everything, or before you start serving the food or drinks. Such things happen as just, you know, calculated tactics. Like, you know, it's like almost like a power move. But for my case, I'm just talking about like, because it comes from experience. I've done advertising probably 7-8 years. I wouldn't go back to it again. But, you know, that's just a story for another day. But, you know, it's almost like a power move kind of. You know, you guys standing in the sun, a little bit of frustration here and there, slight delay, you're waiting for them. And then when the papers come, by the time they come already, you're just like, you know what, let's just get it over with and then to see what the day presents, because we're already done with the worst part probably.
Exactly. Because that contract, I think, was the worst part, because everything from there was just like vibes, to be honest. And when I say vibes, I mean, it was like a party, you know?
There wasn't like a proper like schedule of events. After 1 hour we're
First
doing
of all,
this, after this we do this.
There was a program.
Oh yeah, program.
Right? It came in the PDF. But the program already started late.
Okay.
Super late. Like, I think the event started at a minimum of 2 hours late. Let me not say the exact time because I don't know the exact time.
Roughly.
But minimum 2 hours, right?
Okay.
Then it takes a while. People have to get bitings, and then people start making their content. Oh, and by the way, I made content that day. I made content to post, and I even posted it. And then after it staying online for like an hour or something just didn't feel right to me. So I deleted it. Like, I just felt like, wait, what? And because I made content, I know how it felt to be making content in that event. There was no charging stations for our phones. I lent like 5 people my power bank. And by the way, if I lent you my power bank and you're trolling me online, I lent like 5 people my power bank so that they can make content. I had carried my AirPods, thankfully, but if I hadn't, how would I have edited that footage?
Yeah.
It was loud. It was a party. There was a DJ. There was an MC.
Oh, I hear the music was crazy loud, yeah?
The music was really loud. So I'm not like fighting anybody who says like, we had a good time, I had fun, I got to experience this, we had an open bar. I'm not fighting anybody who said that, but I'm just saying that's not why we were there. And if it was about creating a content challenge for us, then create the right conditions. If it's a content challenge, imagine I would want to come and find like you're giving out mini tripods, maybe you're giving out power banks or charging
A
stations.
couple of accessories
You know,
to just make it easier.
If you go to a club,
Yeah.
In 2025,
Actually, they do.
give out
Charging
power
stations,
banks.
yeah.
So why can't you do that at your event? You know, have a quiet room for editing videos, especially if you're saying there's time allocated for editing videos. I don't know what time that was, but
So everything was deliverables were supposed to be done and posted before you leave the event, or just within 24 hours?
that same day. So I would say, that same day.
Okay, as long as you post something on the same day, now you get shortlisted again, or what was the point of that?
So you get shortlisted again. Now, let me also point out there were over 300 people that were invited.
Okay.
They want to shortlist 100 people.
Okay.
So already there, I think that's a bit. Why then invite over 300 people to only select a fraction of them? The other thing.
I do want to play devil's advocate, right? Because we also do understand, like right now, a lot of people like just from Gen Z, they are really seeking opportunities. And I'm even shocked that it was only 300 people. I think it could have potentially attracted more than 600-700 people. And then now, like, another question is, what was the aim? Like, if you get selected to the school, like, do they give you like a full scholarship? Do you get to learn for free, or now you start paying school fees for them to teach you? Like what's the point of the whole thing?
That's a good question. I didn't have clarification on that. And honestly, I'm telling you, I was telling a group of friends, like, I wouldn't be surprised if they charged us even some small facilitation fee. Yeah. And also with the 300 people, think about context, right?
Yeah.
So the setup when you arrive, there's like on this side, there's like the drinks and the bar. And then on this side, there's a tent with different photo booths. The photo booths are like branded. So they have their different
background, brand partners,
models, little like fun, I don't know, like Nice and Lovely had beach chairs. Some I don't remember the name of that brand even. Some men's brand had like a shaving seat.
That's Vassman.
Yeah.
Shout outs to Vassman. I don't use it, but yeah.
They had like a seat for getting shaved. I don't know if they were giving people free haircuts or what. So I just found that strange because all these brands there are clients of Dentsu.
Yeah.
We've established that Dentsu School of Influence is Dentsu School of Influence, but Dentsu is an advertising agency.
Wait. So, is it's an advertising agency, or what does the school part come in?
Do you want to hear my theory?
Yeah.
I feel like the school part is their way of getting free labor. There's no way of sugarcoating it. Because, let me walk you through it systematically.
Okay.
I've said all these brands here are Dentsu's clients, right? So you have the Dentsu School of Influence, and as part of the application process, you're having people come and create content that boosts online engagement for your clients.
That's brand awareness. They must have had a budget for that.
Yeah, that's what they're paid to do.
Yeah.
As an advertising agency, you're paid to advertise.
So that was actually like an activation, probably.
Thank you.
And clients normally sit down, send they have to send, like, Dentsu has to send them like a quotation of how it's gonna cost to set up something like this, to invite this amount of people, to feed them, give them drinks and all that. And then those costs are approved by client. And then maybe, if client asks, which a normal client with a good brain will have asked, like, oh, wait, so will we need to pay these influencers? And then, however Dentsu negotiates that, like, okay, maybe give us this much, we can give them maybe, Kenyan influence. They do love free food and drinks.
That's the problem. We'll come to that later.
No, we'll get to that. We have enough memory. So we'll talk about that.
No, yeah, okay. I'm glad that you brought that up because I've never worked in advertising, but the way I saw it is maybe as your client, I've paid you X amount to boost my online engagement, right?
Yeah.
For you take that money and you say, you know what would be much cheaper?
Of course.
If we just throw a party, invite a bunch of influencers, but because we can't pay 300 plus influencers to come, we tell them that they might get the opportunity to join Dentsu School of Influence We give them goodie bags, which, by the way, they'll go home and continue boosting online engagement.
Hey guys, my box and
Unbox
everything.
with me, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so to me, that's how it looked like. It was just it was a much cheaper way to get their job done. And they did it. Because even the open bar, I'm sure they had like subsidized rates on account of advertising. Because we are being told, don't forget to use the hashtag, don't forget to use the hashtag, don't forget to use the hashtag. The hashtag is hashtag the bar is set, hashtag the bar is set, you know. And then, like they're pouring drinks and everybody's there taking content. But like, at the same time, you're having a good time, but these people are profiting from that. And I'm not saying that we want to profit from that. I'm just saying create a system that's fair. Because right now, this is what the system looks like. Create a system that's fair. I actually think what Dentsu had in mind is a brilliant idea. Like, let's have a content challenge and see what people can do. Like, we can do a simulation. And we have them, create content as if they were creating for an advertisement, right? Okay. But why not use neutral photo booths, neutral kind of thing, even if it was just Dentsu, if we were promoting Dentsu themselves. Yeah. But the fact that we are promoting people that work, that pay them, that's a clear conflict of interest. That's unethical by all standards.
But also I do want to bring up something else that, our former president said. No, hold on. Relax, first of all. Hold on. Right? Remember, there's a time like there was so much controversy. The press guys are on him and ask him like so many questions. And then I don't know who threw the question, because it had come up like so many times, like, you guys keep buying land. You're buying land from these people and these people. And then there was just something brilliant that he said, which I do understand. And a lot, again, it's a very big power move that a lot of people do use. When you're in the finance world, it's just still the same thing. It's called willing buyer and willing seller. So, meaning that they say like, hey, this is what we are offering you. Are you guys okay with it? Yes. And then when you say yes, whether you get exploited or not, you've already agreed. And that's the unfortunate part, because I think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, like we have so many young people who are very talented, but they're very hungry for exposure and not actual success.
Yeah.
And, like, as long as I'm affiliated with this brand, I've received a PR package from this brand. Yeah. I've, taken pictures. I've stood next to the influencer that I've been seeing online. Now we're taking pictures together.
Yeah.
That's good enough for me.
Yeah.
Even if you don't pay me. And also another thing that people need to understand, that you can play these games, but at the end of it all, if it's a career path that you want to take seriously, you want to be able to feed children, change lives of people who are around you. Mm-hmm. And yes, like I say again, it's all fun and games, but we do see older celebrities who come back into difficult financial times, and we see them crying online. Yeah. Somebody can't pay like a medical bill for their mother who's in hospital with a terminal illness, or somebody's thrown out, their house is locked up. We see people going into alcoholism, depression, with all those things. Remember, it all comes down to finances. So unfortunately, as much as they do the good work, there's a very big gap, and just all that financial literacy needs to be, sprinkled just a bit. Because you can't be taught this in school. You can't be taught this in Strathmore. You can't be taught this in USIU. Financial literacy is not taught in schools, because we still do need a workforce. Yeah. Because now if everybody's financially literate, who's going to go to offices? Who's going to fill these offices? Because now everybody knows about stocks, about bonds, about buying financial freedom. Yeah. Then who's going to work? Where are we going to get our nurses? Where are we going to get, even doctors might reconsider going to do med school for over 10, 15 years probably, accumulatively. But that's why we still come back to the thing of money is also very important, but it's important to have those discussions prior. But it's good for somebody like you to understand that you're not doing a bad thing. You're just doing what's right. That's what needs to be done. But unfortunately, there are a lot of other people around you who are from your generation, who are hungry for just whatever can be.
And
given to them. I think that's what you call breadcrumbs.
yeah, that's what I've been calling breadcrumbs, and it
Okay.
does ruin the market for the rest of us.
Yeah.
But before I get to that part, I want to
Okay.
just bring it back to that thing of willing buyer, willing seller.
Yes.
And I think I pointed it out again on socials when I said they have the information, so they have the power. You know, at this point, as a creator, you're not aware of the commercial value that your content has, right?
Yeah.
You're not aware that these people are making money from the content that you produced that day. And they called us to a meeting, by the way, and they said, we are not making any money from the content produced that day.
Wait, they called a meeting?
They did call a meeting, and I did actually post about it.
You were in the meeting?
Of course, I was in the meeting.
Oh, Lord.
I
Okay,
had to
okay.
join the meeting.
Okay.
I feel like partly I was their target audience, so I had to join the meeting to hear what they had to say.
Okay.
But I just, so they said very categorically that they are not making any money from the content that was produced that day.
Okay.
And that they're actually funding the school, you know.
Who's funding the school?
That they are funding the School of Influence. They said how they have this budget to fly people in to teach master classes, and that's a very big budget, and they're funding it themselves. Although they're also getting funding from NCBA Bank. So
Okay, I do want to ask you a question, and then you can just give me your opinion. Do you think you can teach an influencer how to be an influencer?
So actually, that's been a lot of the discourse that I've been seeing in the comments online, and I think it's a good question to ask, because people have been saying, even Instagram, like if you follow Instagram on Instagram, it gives you so many creator insights and stuff like that, right? But any profession, any field should offer opportunities for training, for certification, for getting better, no matter what you do. Do you know how many trainings I've done on human rights, digital storytelling? I've done them. I've applied for many of them, because you do get insights, You see like some really great initiatives out here, like Baraza Media Lab. They had their Africa Media Festival, So if you go for that, you first of all, you've paid for a ticket and you've gone and you've learned a lot,
True.
So I don't think like we should come down on people for trying to get better at their craft. It was just like something that I saw and I thought, okay, this might be a good opportunity. There might be a lot to learn, and it was also well marketed.
This is me asking for permission to speak.
Okay.
So it still comes back to, do you think you can call an influencer and teach them how to do their job?
I think you can offer insights. You can offer insight. For example, I follow light art creators, right? It's an affiliate, I think, of Light Art Club. They give so many.
Are they partners or?
I don't know. I think there's Light Art Club.
I've seen the logo like
Light
somewhere. I've seen the logo in their website.
I don't know. Don't ask me.
So I wouldn't know, but somebody can correct us maybe.
But they offer like valuable insights on, creating, how to place, wording on a post. Youth Plus. I attended Youth Plus festival.
I missed it.
It was really good this year. It was really good.
Okay.
But there was a lot of insights. Like there's a lot of things I learned there that I wouldn't have otherwise known. So yes, I feel like you can teach someone how to influence. Okay. But
I do have a follow-up for that as well. Or do you want to finish what you're saying?
No,
you said, but
go ahead.
So now the thing is, if I was to pick probably top 10 or top 20 content creators, whether it's locally or internationally, I don't think there's anyone who's going to learn about a masterclass on doing what they do. And then I'll also now double down to saying that when a brand is approaching you, or when people like Dentsu, send you an invite, why do you think they're inviting you to their space, platform, or collab? Why do you think they're inviting you?
Is it for a collab, or was it so that they can choose who they are going to teach?
Just in general, let's say a company is reaching out to an influencer. Why do you think they reach out to an influencer, from your opinion?
That's a good question, because it's something that I've been trying to unpack for the past couple of days. Because
I can tell you why.
Okay.
They don't care about you. You know that, right?
No corporate cares about you. I know that.
So what do they care about?
Making money.
No.
And brand visibility.
No. Something else.
Okay, what is it?
Your audience.
Okay.
That's all they care about, because the people that follow you you are the one who's gonna say something nice about Dentsu, your followers are gonna roll in. If it's a pick any influencer right now, if they hold like, hey guys, by the way, today I had like, Coca-Cola with this on lunch, their followers might be like, yo, by the way, I've never tried Coca-Cola with this and this as an addition to my meal. So it's all about like your following. And that's why they will ask most of the times at times, we have micro influencers and then we have like the big influencers,
Yeah,
right?
which is a whole other, by the way, rabbit hole
Yeah.
about that whole event.
Okay, we'll get to that. So now you'll notice, like, even with a lot of people, like now when you're pitching for ideas and everything, most companies or brand managers will be like, hey, okay, sir, we like your ideas and everything. How many followers do you have? How many followers do you have?
I feel like, okay,
Yeah.
the whole follower thing is another like narrative that has really been bothering me on social media lately.
Yeah.
Because I don't think influence is about your follower count or about your audience. That's why the answer didn't like jump into my head. Because I feel like it's about impact. This is not the first viral video that I've done where I'm talking about just some nonsense that's happening in this country, And because of that, I've always considered myself an influencer. And the other thing is that I will use my platform to speak justice, no matter who is listening. So to me, influence is about what I'm saying, not who is listening.
True. True. But it still comes down to these companies. And that's why when they do a silly move, you're like, hey, wait, what exactly? Why would they do something like this? Because listen, even when it comes to micro influencers, don't think that their numbers don't matter. And that's why when they said like we want a number of stories, how many? Like, was it 10 stories and one reel? Accumulatively, if you put plus all the hashtags, how many posts are there? Because even now, if you just go on TikTok and just put a hashtag or just search for Dentsu, like videos are just popping up. And that's what I'm talking about. Like they care about the followers because you're going to create content and then it just doubles down to your followers from like, upper class, middle class, and lower class. They've captured everybody by just including the influencers. So your voice, you could, because let's say, for instance, my podcast is not that big in numbers. And, there are times that I used to pitch to people like, hey, can you guys sponsor my podcast and do,
and they want to see the numbers.
Yeah, but I don't have those big numbers. But with the small numbers that I have, I've been able to retire. I don't need to work an 8 to 5.
Period.
I don't need to work an 8 to 5. So it's all about, it's what you do with what you have. And I'll also like now, there's something that I always do with people, like even on my podcast when they come. I just want you people, just maybe people who are young or Gen Z to understand like what numbers really mean. Because at times people go to these events and they think that these brands are going to change their life. How many influencers can we say like brands have changed their life?
Oh my gosh, like exactly. And that's what I even commented on something yesterday or the day before.
They don't.
This thing is not going to change your life. And people are out here compromising themselves, actually jumping to the defense of the exploiter because they think that this is some sort of life-changing opportunity. Even if you don't make it into the Dentsu school of influence, like when you die, nothing bad is going to happen. And you're not going to get a job just because of being shortlisted.
Nope.
No, certainly not. And even if you do get a job, they might probably be paying you like a fraction of what you're worth.
It won't be worth that much that people think. I mean, look at other, and that's why I'm telling people like, I always say like on my podcast, personal branding, the way you just brand yourself as a person, talking to people, talking to your audience, and learning how to package things that, I'm telling you, it can be as easy as things like merchandise. Mr. Beast can just sell merchandise. He's good. In fact, let's pick the countries that have like the best influence work. We can go with America, right?
Yeah.
I think that's where the influencing started from.
But you know what? And this is something I was thinking about today, is that I feel like this stuff that we are dealing with Dentsu and the government and just this whole system of exploitation in general is very colonialist, if you ask me.
True.
Like, I feel like these people came hundreds of years ago and set the precedents for the stuff that we are doing today. Because if you go to somewhere like the US, people know their worth there. So you won't find, and I'm not saying people don't get exploited in the US. We're definitely not saying that.
Yeah.
But here, here it's okay because the exploitation is normalized. Here it's like it's the bare minimum, it's the standard, you know. So I've been just trying to explain to people that what we are dealing with here, yes, Dentsu, but Dentsu is a symptom of a very deeply rooted problem.
Yeah.
That is what I'm trying to expose.
But also we have to understand that influencing is something that is very new in the job market. So there's no correct formula that has been, like even when they say something like, an influencer school, we've never had anything like that. So even if they do anything, like how will you judge them? How will you say like this is not the standard of how it's supposed to be done? Because there's nobody else doing it.
That's true.
And then now the thing I was telling you like about the importance of just your audience and even how people do it like abroad and why people abroad people are not running to chase brands. Brands are really begging people. But here you see like people are just constantly begging. That's why it's just important to understand like your platform and just build your audience slowly. Because, for you, I can see you doing like politics in future. That's for sure. I mean, that's just, come on, that's just like, that's just given. But we'll get to the politics part. But I want to show you like how numbers work, right? Because I'm always talking about like finances all the time. It's because like I've taken time to understand. Oh, sorry, it's just like, I don't know, maybe it's like something.
Oh, okay. I was wondering,
No,
did you hear
it's not
that?
you.
Okay.
So let's say you have 10,000 followers, right?
Okay.
And these are loyal followers that follow you. Because I don't even understand how people have like 900K followers like on TikTok and they can barely pay rent.
Yeah.
They're not doing well. Like, what's the point?
It's true.
What's the point? And that's where the financial literacy comes back. So you have 10,000 followers. Let's not go to the 900K because those are ridiculous numbers. Let's say you're just focusing on your brand, your audience, and you even have like maybe merch, which is things like bracelets, maybe T-shirts, or just like anything, key holders or something. But let's take maybe merchandise that can be cheap and your audience really loves you. So let's say maybe key rings, because most students like, would have keys, right?
A
key ring.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, key ring, maybe like something that you'll just add to your key, like
yeah.
probably like a key holder or something.
Okay.
But something that looks aesthetically pleasing. Maybe, if it's for girls, you'll put like some glitter and, just kind of like, make it bling a bit here and there. But now people want to support you. How much would you sell like that key ring for?
Because I'm also...
That's affordable. Like, as students, for students, don't say like, hey,
price. Yeah. I don't know. It depends, I guess, on how much I'm buying it for, and then I would see how to price it from there.
Yeah, it would depend. Because China, you can get cheaper, but let's just go with like you selling it to them. Like, what would make sense to you?
So, okay, let's say I was buying the keyring at 50 shillings, and I'm selling to my followers. I would probably add like 200, and sell them for 250.
Okay. So
I'd make 200 profit.
So let's just do 10,000 we multiply by?
That's 2.5 M.
Yeah. So which influencer has gotten 2.5 over the past 2 years for just like, maybe creating videos?
Wait, do you know how I'm sitting on a story here that I'm just dying to
Okay. Do we go to the story? But now this is key holder. That's why I've said like 250. And now let's go to something like T-shirts. I always bring this up, but I think because it's your episode and this is something you've communicated and you've tried like telling people like, know your worth. You can make much more. If a brand approaches you, they shouldn't come with certain like just, nonsense. So let's just take maybe 10,000. I don't know what that keeps beeping, but I don't know. Maybe it's the cable. I know for sure. Okay, so now let's go with the T-shirt. Yeah, it's the cable, definitely. So let's do T-shirts, right? A T-shirt would make sense if you're selling it for 1,500, maybe on a cheaper side.
I'm not
1,000.
buying a T-shirt for 1,500.
1,000?
Yeah, let's say.
Somebody, a brand, a person that you really like. You know.
Okay.
Okay, so how much is that?
That is 10M. Yeah.
It's close to $100,000. Talking about 10 million Kenyan shillings. So understand the power you have with your audience.
Period.
You can just package simpler things. You don't need to have like sorry to use it as an example, but you don't need to have Coca-Cola next to you to be doing financially or well off. And unfortunately, most people, even now, you'll notice with influencers, the moment a brand gets to you and you sign contracts and then you start creating content tailor-made to what the client wants.
Yeah.
We want you to talk like this. We want you to say this, like on your videos. We want you to do this.
Yeah, you're giving up your creative freedom.
And then your brand starts. Anybody, you'll notice, like people get brand deals and then gradually they just start not relatable.
Yeah.
The guy was funny, he's no longer funny.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, what's happening to them? It's the brands that ruin those personal brands.
Because they come with so many like requirements. You have to do this, deliverables.
And they throw in a lot of free things. You know,
Yes.
we'll take you from here to here. We'll give you this. We can pay for... But that's, you know, that's probably like their tax cuts, probably. They'll just like put like tax returns.
Yeah, actually. And I think more people need to recognize that when you see them doing all this, all that, for them, that's change. That's small change.
That's a tax write-off. They'll say this is part of their expenses, not to pay a certain amount of tax.
Very small change. So you're seeing them as these really kind people who are doing above and beyond. No, these corporates are not your friend.
They do not care about you at all. Okay, now you said you seated on a story, but do you want to share it maybe?
Yeah,
okay.
I feel like I want to share it.
Okay.
I've been sitting on this story and I don't know, maybe this might be where I say it.
Yeah.
I've just been waiting to know when I'm going to talk about it, but I found that a lot of people have been DMing me, sharing their experience with Dentsu. And when this whole thing broke out, I actually encouraged people to talk to me. These people have explained to me, I've gotten both high, like influencers like with high followings and influencers with macro and micro influencers or nano influencers.
Yeah.
So for the nano influencers, they've expressed that Dentsu would reach out to them. Like maybe if you have like 5,000 followers, Dentsu will reach out to you and ask you if you'd like to do some brand promotion for one of their brands. That could be something like maybe Garnier. And then they ask you, what's your rate card? Listen very closely. They approach you, then they ask you, what's your rate card?
Yeah.
When you send them the rate card, they lowball you and they tell you, okay, maybe you've said, I can do, I don't know how people really charge. By the way, I've never done a brand deal, so I don't know how people even charge. I don't know if you charge for like per post, but maybe
it can be per post. I heard somebody saying like, you know, it can range. It can be anywhere from like, I think, 10 Gs, 15, up to like
10.
Up to like, wait, what?
Because the people who have been in my DMs have even been saying that maybe they'll quote 7 and then Dentsu are like 1,000 shillings. And then Dentsu will say, we can pay you 5. And then some may take it, some may not. However, for the people that reached out to me with bigger followings, Dentsu approaches them and says, we want you to do this for this long, and this is how much we are going to pay you. And the amount is quite decent.
100?
No, not 100. I've
50?
not had that much. I've had between 20 to 50.
Okay.
So I just think, why is it that when you're approaching someone with a big following, you're approaching them with a pre-established rate, which is what you should be doing for everyone? You should even have I'd expect a document that says, if your following ranges from this much to this much, this is around how much we pay. That's the transparent. I'm very big on ethics, by the way. Like, that's what I'll do. I will sit down and look at a situation and say, what's the most ethical way to go about this, you know? So I think it's weird. I just find it a bit strange. Like, why is it that when you're reaching out to small influencers, you wait for them to tell you how much they'll charge so that you can lowball them?
Listen,
taking advantage.
Devil's advocate again. Remember, if I put myself in their shoes, they're like, and they'll always use your numbers against you. And that's why, remember, I still say it, like, you know, that's why they always come. The first question they'll ask, like, okay, so how many followers do you have? Because now that already, I'm talking about that because that's something that was already being used like way back, like even when I was trying to pitch for ideas and stuff, like, hey, can you guys come and endorse this or that? I was like, okay, how big is your following? And then I'm like, oh, Lord. And then they would even go, a stretch and tell you like, but Nani has 100K followers and she's charging this much. So why would you want why would we pay you the same amount with her? And I think for most influencers, like, you know, you'd be like, okay, it makes sense because if I have 5K and she has 100K followers, then she has a better and a bigger reach, which makes sense to a brand to pay them.
I
more.
understand, but I feel like we need to hold these brands to a bigger account, because I think even like looking at it that way, even if me and my friend both have 30,000 followers,
Yeah.
if I so much as allude that, okay, maybe my friend, they want to pay us 50K each, right? But my friend says, no, I'm not going to take your 50K. Like, they might still agree to pay her more and pay me less just because I agreed to take that 50K.
True.
And I just think that's not right. You should have like a set standard by which you treat people. And I can understand, like, if you have bigger numbers, you get paid more. I've not refused that. But just because you have smaller numbers doesn't mean you should be treated like shit. Sorry to curse, but you know.
I mean, it's very unfortunate, but it's a man society.
Yeah, and I know that. But at the end of the day, we still have a responsibility to try and fight for the ideal, try and work towards that ideal. I'm so sick of everyone telling me, you're so idealistic, that's not how it works out here. But it can be. Like, we can't just accept the status quo.
Yeah.
You know?
I understand where you're coming from, but remember, like, from you're coming from an activist point of view.
That's why you called me here, right?
Yeah, exactly. So remember, you're talking, and even like, you know, I'd see like how other people, and like, let's say, let me see if I can find like maybe some clips, and maybe we can respond to them before, like, because I have so many pointers, and you know, we'll just touch like on a lot, and we have so much time. So, okay, let me see if I can pull up the first video and see if I can play it, like maybe on audio. Is it playing? No? Okay, hold on. Let me figure out this. Come on, not now.
I've seen that video.
You've seen?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I want to see if I can connect it on the mixer, and then we can just brainstorm to it. Let me see. Come on, man. Why is my
Why?
mix?
Because I
Oh,
didn't
okay.
take time to read the
Okay.
just sad to see creators being. So these are just sad scenes to see creators being dragged online because of attending the Dentsu School of Influence event. Guys, me, I attended. Do I have any regrets? No. Did I understand whatever the contract said and everything that was said? Yes. Why? Because I did take time to read the contract and I signed to it because I agreed to it. However, if I did not agree to whatever it is that was written there, then I don't think ninge sign. So if you signed the contract, that means that you agreed to whatever it is the Dentsu School of Influence told you to sign to. If you did not read the contract before signing, that is why you're here complaining. Guys, you take PR packages for free. You take services for free. You come out here, you create content for free, and then you post it. The same PR packages and the same products that you're given, you'd have paid for them somewhere. Sindio. So Dentsu.
Okay, so now let's unpack that a bit maybe, and you can respond to that, because okay, and shout outs to Wanjira. That's just a clip from her TikTok. Or like she said, like, you know, people already do a lot of things for free.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's very common. I've even I've seen an extent of people even writing on their page, paid partnership, and they do not get paid.
They're not paid?
They just
That's
want
crazy.
affiliation, just to say, like, you know, my name is associated to this brand.
Because when you say it's a paid partnership, maybe someone somewhere is seeing that you have experience.
You have experience, and when people come to you, they get paid.
Okay.
But now, like, even to go to her video and what she said, like, you know, she went there willingly, and, you know, a lot of influencers already do a lot of things for free. So why not go there? Because like there was an opportunity for you to like maybe expose
the things
your
they're
brand.
saying,
Yeah,
network,
exactly.
expose.
Yeah.
Listen, I watched that video and I hear what she's saying, and I hear what everyone was saying.
In fact, she's saying that, you know, why she's coming from a concern where like, why are they being, and I'm guessing it's like maybe now people like you who are advocating for like, yo, don't take this. You deserve better and everything. So she's like, okay, why are we being beat down just for going there?
Let me just make it very clear that in making the video, it was never about bringing anyone down. It was actually like quite the opposite, you know? So I'm sad that it was received that way, but Wanjira and I have been in communication. I
Oh,
think
your friends?
Yeah, we met the day of the event.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Dope.
So it's not like any internet beef or anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was the opposite of that. But I think also, like, of course, if you receive it that way, you know, like especially with the comments, and you know, like social media has a life of its own. I'll post something and something will just happen and it'll just go, you know. So there's that, fine. But I also think what I was trying to point out is a very systemic exploitation. And I was trying to point out that, yes, it's okay. Yeah, we got all these things for free and all that. But at the end of the day, it's unfair because they made money from what happened that day. And we didn't benefit from it at all. And let me be very categorical and clear when I say that going for a party where you got to meet a bunch of influencers and getting a goodie bag is not benefiting, especially when you pit it up against. And this is the same visual I used in the TikTok.
Yeah.
Especially when you put it up against, who knows, possibly hundreds of millions of shillings that they are benefiting from the online engagement that we made.
Yeah.
So it's okay. We went, we had a good time. Now, on the thing for the contract, you're not stupid if you signed the contract. It's not that you didn't read it. Number one, contracts are not so easy to understand. So it's not like once you read the contract, you automatically will understand what's there. Even for me, I read it. I was like, okay, full ownership. But it took me, like, I actually uploaded the document into ChatGPT. And that's when
to get a breakdown
and
analysis.
that's when now I understood, but I'm telling you, like, it's not fair to say I read it and I understood it. Like, probably that's not even the case. I'm sure even me in the video, there was something that hit you for the first time that you didn't get upon first reading it. And lastly, just because you signed the contract doesn't mean you are now bound to the exploitation of the day. If you don't have the content for them to exploit, then, you know, so let's like also not make that such a big thing of, you know, like you're stupid because you signed the contract. I also signed it.
I have a question though, follow up, just regarding the contract. So wait, and this is very important as well, so that we understand how brands move. And the way I was saying, like, you know, did they give you guys the contracts first, or was alcohol served first before the contracts were given?
No. The alcohol was
just
later.
asking.
The alcohol was after because you couldn't enter the event, but you could see the bar. You know, you could see like, okay, there's going
so
to
everybody signed this with a sober mind. I'm just guessing, not like
unless of course you
double
came there,
4 shots
no,
and then
no,
now
no,
it's like,
no,
okay, now can you sign this?
No,
Okay.
but I would say that duress is still something that we could say happened because.
What do you mean by that?
So so when you say signing a contract under duress means you are, in my way of understanding it means you are not put in the best position to make the best decision about whether you should sign that contract or not.
Yeah.
So it can be either you are forced, or in our case, you had been waiting so long to get into the event, and then after like 2 hours of waiting to get into the event, they're like, you can come in just now, just sign this. You know, that's how it was. Yeah, that's honestly how it was.
So you were signing and then you get in?
Yeah, once you sign, you're given a tag, welcome.
Oh, really? Wait.
Yeah.
So it was at the entrance?
At the entrance.
So if you don't want to sign, you go home?
There's the door.
Yeah, because the only way you're entering is...
Oh, and mind you, by the way, I don't know if this is relevant, but I was starving. I was so hungry because I left the house without eating breakfast because I was in a hurry. And for me to just go there and eat, you know, like...
So
I know it might sound silly.
No, it's not. Because even when you're on the line and you're seeing there's food there and there's an open bar
like,
there.
just sign this first.
Please, I need to go. Let me just get there.
Exactly.
Okay.
So even when you say, okay, no, we weren't drunk when you signed them, but you can see the bar and you're like, okay.
Yeah, I would want to.
Yeah.
Okay, now I have a few pointers that I just want us to just to run through, right?
Yeah.
Would you say like the event created like it gave you access personally, or from what you saw like from other people? Did it give them access to the brands that were there? Were the brand managers there? Like, did you get to meet any representatives of the brands? Maybe?
Yes. I met someone from L'Oreal.
Okay.
And I don't want to implicate Joby in any of this.
Yeah.
But I met someone from Joby and I had told him how I've applied for so many jobs on Joby and not gotten any replies, and he said, we networked basically.
Okay, so the network with the brands and representatives was on point.
At least, I would say
from
that.
your understanding and experience, right? Okay, would you say networking with other influencers made sense there from people maybe you just see online, but there you got to now mingle with them and maybe even if it's exchange contacts and stuff?
I mean, it was an event full of influencers, so
Because, like, you know how Kenyan influencers, you can't just DM anyone and then expect them to come for a collab or anything.
Okay.
Most of the time, like, they have and I understand because they have other commitments.
Yeah.
And still somebody.
Okay. In terms of influencers, unless it's someone who I know personally, I didn't see, maybe it's because like I follow, like the type of people I follow is a bit different, but I didn't see anybody that off the bat I was like, OMG, that's so and so. Like,
Really?
For me personally,
What kind of people do you follow?
I don't know. Like I follow people who do a lot of similar stuff to what I do. I found like who would I find outside and be excited? I don't know.
I mean, give me a name or two, maybe. It's a way of you shouting them out. They're doing a good job
I don't
online.
know, maybe like the other day I met Boniface Mwangi in the petrol station.
Okay, yeah. Makes sense, especially like, even in line with a lot of things.
If I found someone like, maybe also Lynn Gogi, for example.
Victoria Rubadiri.
There we go.
Okay, now I know what you're talking about now. Okay, now I understand. Caroline Mutuko.
Vitamin C.
Hey.
Period.
Hey.
Now you get it. Now you're understanding.
I understand. I understand. Okay. And then now, like, we've touched on deliverables. More than 300 creatives, I'm guessing, who are there. And then, are there companies because the companies that were there, like, it was just probably like a surprise, but were there companies that you actually saw and were like, oh, actually, I've wanted to work with this brand by there and they.
So that's another thing. Actually, I'm glad that you've asked me that because I feel like there were so many different kinds of creators there that it was kind of hard for them to find brands that aligned directly with what they do. And I get it, like sometimes it changes, but it felt like an event for lifestyle creators. So for those of us who did different content, like people, what kind of content do you do? So I interacted with people who do tech content. Who are they supposed to, how is that someone who does content about these kind of mics and stuff supposed to promote Gani,
tricky,
or supposed to promote Nice and Lovely, I met with, tech, natural hair, travel influencers as well. Okay. So it was hard. And then me, I think I was the only person there like, what kind of content do you do? Oh, I do digital activism.
Yeah, yours is completely different.
Completely different. Yeah. And there's something else I want to address because someone on TikTok described it as the whistleblower does whistleblower content. So my motivation was...
Are you the whistleblower?
Yeah, I'm the whistleblower. Surprise, surprise. So they said the whistleblower does whistleblower content. And so therefore, my motive was clear. And I feel
so what would have been your motive? What did they imply?
I felt like she was saying I attended the event with the motive of basically creating a ruckus on social media. Or
like tarnishing their name or something.
Yeah, like I attended to tarnish their name. That's not the case. And actually, I have the content that I filmed that day.
Yeah.
The content that I filmed that day, and I'm sure a lot of the people who are there might remember me asking them about something SRHR related. So I was asking people about misconceptions they had about sex and their bodies when they were young. Because that's the kind of content I do.
Yeah.
So I did not go there with any of those intentions. And I had actually posted. I had posted my content and I had every intention of seeing this thing through. Because that's why I'm here. I'm going to see it through and I'm going to see if I might get shortlisted. But then after sitting with it for some time, after doing some analysis sometimes in the moment also, and this is why it also answers those questions of why didn't you leave? Why did you sign? Sometimes it's you just need some time to sit down and think,
It was like less than 10 hours to make all these decisions, make content, get into the room, all those things.
It was, we must have, I even left early. Once everything kind of dawned on me, I kind of was just like, I'm out of here. So I didn't even get the goodie bag, by the way. I don't know if they were
Oh,
given later,
I
but
think
I
that's
didn't
when
go.
you stay till like it's time to leave. You can leave with this.
I don't know. Even if I was still there, by that time I think I had loaded, because at that time I had deleted already the content I had posted.
Oh,
So I think at that time I didn't even want the goodie bag. So, I just hope like my integrity is not in question. But yeah, I did make content that day.
speaking of that, like, aren't you afraid of being blacklisted by brands? Because now you're very vocal, and it's crazy because these are people who are part, not even part, like most of these people are in your generation.
Yeah.
So you're just speaking out for
Yeah.
them. And in return, with something like that, like even how agencies work, they'll be like, hey, as a don't touch Nani, because like, hey, if you go
I know
wrong,
what I'll say about that,
Nani.
and it's this.
Yeah.
If you are an ethical brand and you go about your business in an ethical way, someone like me shouldn't scare you. And if you are an ethical brand and you do things the right way and you care about people, someone like me should draw you. You should be like, "Oh, I like her. When I was thinking of launching my career in content creation, by the way, it's not a career. I'm more into like journalism, investigative journalism, policy advocacy. This is more of a tool for communication. It's not about me getting money. So that's another reason why I don't care about being blacklisted, because it's not about money for me. It's about communicating. It's about starting conversations.
Yeah.
And as I was starting out, when I did think about the monetary aspect of it, I thought maybe like I can collaborate with NGOs, brands, and not really collaborate with them in terms of like making like content for them per se, but more like doing research, more like coming up with fun infographics. I did work for an organization, Feminists in Kenya, where I used to do content. I was a comms person for them. And so that's the kind of content I see myself doing, like, content that aligns with the things I believe in.
Yeah.
And using different media too. At the moment, I volunteer at Kenyan as the Director of Digital Advocacy and Campaigns. I run
What do they...
Kenyan is an organization that seeks to place youth at the center of nation building through various initiatives. And as the lead for digital advocacy and campaigns, I run campaigns. Like, we come up with an idea. If it's right now, we are working on a gender agenda campaign, talking about femicide, talking about sexual and gender-based violence, and SRHR as well, which by the way is sexual reproductive health rights. Sometimes I realize I use acronyms assuming people know what I'm saying.
A lot of influencers will be like, wait, she's talking about what exactly? And also, like, even just to understand, like, even like the path that you're taking, because I would take an example and ask you, like, have you seen like Boniface Mwangi getting brand deals?
No.
Yeah, exactly. So you see, understand
it's
that
about intent at the end of the day. Like, I don't really like, hi guys, this episode is sponsored by Fiji. No, like, it's just about communicating. And so I feel like people get it mixed up, because if my video gets 250,000 views, of course I'll be happy. But I'm not happy because I'm getting famous. I'm happy because people are hearing what I'm saying. Even if people get mad, like, you're mad because I'm saying the truth.
That's why I'm saying, like, you also, as long as you are aware about, like, the path that you're taking, you see, like, even think about like Boniface Mwangi. He's been doing this for more than 10, 12 years. He's just been fighting for people's rights over and over and over again. And unfortunately, no brand deals. No brand deals are coming his way. No blue bands, Coca-Cola.
Actually,
no
you know what it comes with? It comes with backlash. It comes with getting arrested.
Yes.
It comes with getting called out over and over. It comes with people bashing you down. When you run for office, it comes with people not voting for you.
Yep.
And I understand, like, that's the life I've chosen, but it's hard. Like, it's really hard.
But you also have to understand, like, for you in general in life, for you to stand out, like, from the other pack. And it's just something that you can see. Because even for me, like, when I invited you, like, on the podcast, I was like, I understand, like, what she's doing. It's a very unique lane that she's taking. And I do see a really bright future like in you.
Oh, thank you.
That's just for that's
I hope it's
that's,
not just for me, but I hope it's like
yeah.
for us. Because
Yeah.
even as I was at Dentsu and I was looking around, and like I said, there was a certain moment it just kind of, I was just like that time now when I deleted the video,
Yeah.
I was looking around and I was like, who is here? Mainly it's young people,
Yeah.
it's young women, and even for the guys, it's like there's also queer people, you know. Like I'm just looking around and I'm seeing people that are already systemically marginalized. And why is Dentsu exploiting them? Because in this country we don't have opportunities.
Yeah.
In this country we don't have jobs. We don't have a way to make a living for ourselves. If we do manage to make a living for ourselves, like my friends who are content creators and make a living from that, you know, you have to put your invoice on eCitizen. I don't know how much KRA eats based on what you earn, but it's
Yeah.
rough out here. Like it's rough out here. So they're taking advantage of the fact that I don't want to say we are desperate, because I feel like sometimes you speak truth into narratives every time you say them.
It is desperation though, and not you.
No,
Not what I'm saying.
but no, you're right.
Okay,
like
yeah,
I get,
but
you know what I'm trying to say.
Have you seen like any time like on Twitter when people say like there's a job interview somewhere this and place, and then somebody posts a picture? Have you ever seen like just the turnout of people,
lines.
the lines? And we also have, just to understand, we have to admit like there are no jobs.
Yeah.
How
there
many people are
aren't.
graduating? Like even now, I've said like enough times, people are going to Daystar, USIU, getting all these journalism degrees. They're looking forward to being like in front of cameras, working for these
Yeah.
media stations. But they
And that time you've invested so
Yeah,
much
4 or
money,
5 years.
time,
but
exams.
but guess what? The radio stations and TV stations are hiring influencers and celebrities, yet there are still other
because
people
they
who are
can pay
studying
them less.
because of desperation.
Yeah, but also the more now, and I said we would come to this.
Yeah.
Now, when we feed the system, because when we take videos and we say, and like I like Wanjira a lot. Like she's a nice girl. She's very beautiful, and she was very supportive of me. You know, even if maybe she didn't agree with me, she supported me.
Oh, the one who posted
Yes, the
we've just
video we
posted the
just
video.
watched.
Yeah.
But she did say something at the end of her video, which I'm not reacting to her. I'm reacting to what she said. She said, if this is what exploitation looks like, my skin is glowing. Thank you to Garnier.
Yo!
And I just think, like, why would you say that? Why would you say that?
But you see, that's why I'm saying, like, just think about how hard your job is. You're advocating for people who don't even really.
But you know, you're spoiling the market for the rest of us, because
No, it's true.
Those who want better, those who deserve better, and by the way, even you deserve better,
Yeah.
you'll never get it as long as someone else is still willing to do it for that shortchanging.
You know why this is very interesting? Because it's an Gen Z activist, and then we have these other people who she's speaking out for, and we have those people who don't understand what she's doing for them, and they're just not showing any appreciation. And it's sad because these are people from your gen. They should be like, even if you don't want to be blacklisted, but maybe just send your DMs like, hey, you do your thing.
Yeah.
But like me, I can't participate because I have people to feed though.
Exactly.
I have people to feed, but I understand what you're doing. But would you say you've gotten like a lot of support maybe from people who are... that's cool. That's cool. That's cool.
Wow.
That's
a
cool.
lot. And like, I'm one person who like I said, communication is very important to me.
Yeah.
I believe conversations change lives. So there are some things that you can tell me, and there are some things that you can say that will stick in my mind. Like that thing for my skin is glowing. Oh, that really stuck with me, because I was just
wild.
Like, why would you say that? You know,
Wild statement,
it's quite the thing to say, and it's not very good. But another thing that someone told me, she's called Mantoi, she said, get behind me. Like, get behind me. Like, that to me felt so, I just felt
What
like
did
a
that
hug.
mean?
It means like, even if right now you can't take all that, just like get behind me.
Let me shield you a bit.
Yeah, shout out to someone like Tinashe, who is speaking my name even when I'm not there, because I'll find a video and this video has been trending, and now I'm seeing it 2 days later, and I open the comments and there's someone like Tinashe saying, you guys are misunderstanding her. And even people who I don't even know personally making videos, because like, I don't like to say that. I don't want to actually say I'm a torch bearer, no. Like, let's have the conversation together. And that's why I encourage the comments. I encourage the videos. I'm never going to stand and say, you guys are riding my wave of publicity. No, imagine, like, that was the point.
But
That
even
was the point.
but even opening the conversation, that's very important, because you can only imagine how many people felt uneasy that day because they're like, this is not really what I was looking forward to. But they can't even post it like on their social media because they're just afraid. Not like somebody's going to come and kidnap you or anything, but they're just like, what if I get blacklisted?
Yeah.
Because like that's the biggest concern for a lot of influencers who are just starting off.
But imagine if these brands who are paying people peanuts and are taking advantage of people blacklist you. That's like rejection is redirection. That thing wasn't made for you. And the other thing I'd like to address is like something that I think people have said is people might be jumping to the defense of Dentsu or the exploiter because they feel like me calling it out was me calling them out. But you are not the problem. Like, it's not you. You're not the problem. The problem is big corporates taking advantage of people. So you become the problem definitely when you jump to their defense in public. And I think I saw another influencer, quite a prominent influencer, I can't remember her name, but she commented under one of those videos coming to Dentsu's defense. She commented like, let them do the damage control. Why are you doing the damage control for them? You know? And that really resonated with me because you've taken time out of your day to do PR for them. They've not even paid you for that again.
Oh, by the way, again, here you are standing for. Oh,
yeah,
by
and
the way.
you're literally doing PR.
Oh,
that's not
Lord,
even advertising.
sense,
That's
by the
PR. That's public relations already. And you're coming to their defense and you're saying, no, you know, this brand Dentsu, and you're really like putting them on this pedestal.
But you know, I just don't understand why people feel like they really need that stamp of honor from, like, let's say, big corporates or like
That's
even
what it
Dentsu,
is.
because you see it, like even when you see like
That's what it is.
the glow statement when she's saying like if this is being exploited.
Thank you, Garnier.
Like it.
And that Garnier is not, you know, they've not.
That's what I'm
have
saying.
They
Like,
done
you know,
for you? Did they buy you dinner last night? No.
But you know, that's what I'm saying. Just look even at maybe a lot of big creatives. I can give an example. I would give, who's a good example that I can pick. And I'm not saying exploiting. It's just like people who they did like just a flip and turned the intellectual property on their side and just owned the idea. Let's say like Boina has been doing like the eating videos.
Yeah.
Crazy, like, you know, going crazy with a lot of things and stuff, right? And now she has this amazing thing that she's partnered with Festive.
Yeah.
And she's doing like the cooking with, I don't know if it's cooking with Boina or something to do with cooking.
Yeah,
Invites celebrities
I saw
and they
that.
cook and everything.
Yeah.
But in all honesty, she already had like people on a frenzy on how she eats, her content, people interacting in the comment section and everything. So if a brand approaches you with like, hey, we want to do videos about you cooking with celebrities, like what would be the first move that you would do? Like I'm just, you know, we're just brainstorming and I want to see like how you would approach it. And then I'll give you like my approach so that you can just tell me. In terms of ownership of doing content and stuff, like what would be like your move?
I'd call a lawyer.
You'd call a lawyer. Okay, like I'd tell you my
I'd
move.
first call a lawyer and maybe like just also because like I do have like some really cool aunties out there and stuff.
Okay.
Like I would definitely like ask them for
Consult
their
first.
advice because like I said, I'm not like a influencer, like a brand deal type influencer. Like mine is just to speak truth to power. That's all I do. So I've never like thought about that.
I can tell you what I would do.
Okay.
And like I'm saying, because for my case, it's just because like even if you notice like in this room, everything is being done by me.
Yeah.
You know, even if somebody presses,
and you're doing quite a good job over here too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
If somebody presses record on that camera and I'm seated here, they can own parts of like, you know, ownership of like the content that they're shooting. They can easily like just say like, hey, by the way, see, I was part of it. Even if they're fired or we are no longer working, if they pressed record, they own part of this content.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's just how the law works.
I didn't know that.
Most people don't know that, but that's how it works. That's why you see me stretching here, pressing that record, and then I come
You're
here.
not going to tell me, Tatiana.
No. I'll do it. But then again, now, like, we come back to that, like, let's say Festive has approached, like, now Boina to do, like, the cooking show.
Yeah.
The first thing I would do as her is, like, very simple. It's like, hey, we can do the content, but we'll upload it on my YouTube channel.
Oh.
Simple, plain and simple. You want
Also-
my audience, you want. But now if we go, now let's see. And I'll show you how like brands, like they just know how to
But like,
work people
I
out.
feel like we should also talk about like working conditions.
Uh-huh.
Working conditions, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we should definitely also talk about that. Because that was also a thing at the Dentsu thing, which is like, okay, you want us to make all this content, but how have you made that easy for us? So when you talk about Boina, actually, the reason that came in my mind was the video with Andrew Kibe, because I think that's the only one of those videos I've seen.
Yeah, actually true.
And honestly, I hated to watch every minute of that, you know? And it's just like, why would anybody put her in that kind of position, you know? Like, why would anybody do that? That's already a brand. Yeah, that's really messed up. Why would you put her in a position where she's being sexually harassed?
So the content here is going on the Festive Bread channel, right?
Oh.
Yeah, it's going to the Festive Bread channel.
Does
so
she
now,
post it on her own?
now let's go to her channel. And we see what she's posted on her. Where's her YouTube? Where's her YouTube? Okay, let me find it on TikTok maybe. I don't even think she's posted like a link to her YouTube, but I just want to show you like how easy it is for brands to just like make you forget about like your personal branding. Okay, now
Because then, okay, on one hand you're saying, yeah,
this is her official YouTube channel.
Oh, damn.
How many videos does it have?
And she has like a good number of subscribers.
Yeah, she has a couple of short videos, probably like,
YouTube
from
shorts,
TikTok.
probably from TikTok.
Yeah, and then just converting them to. But if you go to like main page.
Just that. So she, even if she wanted to, she couldn't post the content?
No, that's owned by.
So that's really messed up because on one hand, you
example.
could be getting the monetary compensation that you're due.
You know how
Probably
crazy.
you're getting paid a lot. But just because you're getting paid, I mean, they can do anything. Like 20 years from now, you can find clips of that video, even in a porn.
Yeah.
And there's nothing you can do about it?
Nope. You don't own it. But that's what I'm saying. Like, if she just said, like, it's very simple. She said, like, oh, we can do this idea, but let's do it on my channel so that I can grow my channel as well. And even if we part ways, I know that you've helped me grow as a person and you've helped my page grow as well.
Or like maybe like a shared ownership type thing
Exactly,
where
'cause you
can't
can do that on YouTube.
anything without my approval.
No, even on YouTube, if you have two different channels, like they can be like a way where, like the way, it's not called collab, but there's a way you can get revenue share from somebody who's posting from you being present in their channel, and then they get a split revenue on their channel.
Because I know on YouTube, like you get paid for views, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm just saying now for her, if the best thing she would have done is like partner it, but like make sure the content is in her channel. And that would mean even like 5-6 years from now, as she keeps growing her content, she would still be making money with the clips that were from like the festive thing. But, and that's why I'm saying, like, it happens, like, even to the best.
Yeah,
because you
and
see,
shout
like,
out to Boina. I love
she's a
Boina's
very
content.
amazing content
Forget
creator.
even the one where she eats. Like, I like watching the things she says when she talks. She's funny. And I'm so sorry. Like, Andrew Kibe, I hate that they did that to her.
But you see now, even for you as an activist and what you represent, but, let's be honest. If you're bringing Andrew Kibe, and you want Andrew Kibe to be
all publicity is good publicity is
no. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, if you're inviting him and you want him to be Andrew Kibe, all he's doing is just being himself. He has not changed anything. He's just coming here like, hey, you guys invited me here.
I don't think that could have been her idea because she was so like she's trying to, and she's doing it really well. Like she's trying to
play it out.
And I was seeing people in the comments like, oh, you should have called him out. You should have called him out. You don't understand when women are in this. It's not even just professionalism.
Yeah.
This is the age of femicide in Kenya. Like, we are not conditioned as women to call out men, especially when their behavior is scaring us. Because you never know how that can end for you.
But I do have a question even about that, because we can still pivot back and come back to branding, because we've talked about branding, but we can always come back. But this is also like an issue that you represent and try and just speak out about like all the injustices that are happening around femicide.
Yes.
And like even when they're doing such a thing, like such a video, how do you know, like how are men supposed to know where to draw the line between like this is playful and this is sexual harassment? Because like even clearly from that video, you could see like the debates like on TikTok. There's some people
There
who are
was
like,
nothing playful about that.
no, listen.
Oh,
That's
okay.
not me saying. We are
I'm-
saying.
I'm talking about the
Yeah.
situation.
I'm saying about if you go to the comment
Yeah,
section.
yeah.
You know how TikTok is. And if you want
Yeah.
feedback to know like how people think, go to
the
TikTok.
comments, yeah.
Because now you
And
know where
X.
you're saying like, yo, that's too sensitive. Somebody can't write something like that. Somebody has their face, profile and everything, and they've posted what they think.
Yeah.
And you would see how crazy people like just are, like, you know, to the extent that people can express like how they feel.
Yeah.
And you would see like, you know, guys are like, that's just normal. She's just flirting around and everything. But that's how like the young people are thinking.
Yeah, that's really
Because you see it on the comments. And that's the crazy part is like, I'm always trying to tell people, like, even when you hear somebody like, you say like the guy who, you've been to Femicide marches, right?
Yep.
A lot of them or all of them?
The first one
This
I
one
went
and then-
for was the one January last year, and then I went for all the rest.
Remember last year when that thing was going on, there was this guy, there's a time like a group of women who were marching, they bumped into this guy who was saying like, me by the
Tutawaua!
yeah.
Tutawaua! Yeah,
Exactly.
I saw him.
And I was telling people like, even just women, I was just trying to say like, you know, it's very important to understand when somebody like that says something like that, they're not joking.
They're not.
They're serious.
They're not.
But you should have a conversation with such a person so that you understand. No, listen. You understand and give me time because I know it's already, I can already see it's taking you off already. You need to have a conversation with this person to understand why they think the way they think and why they think it's correct for them to say like, I will kill because he said I will kill and he means it. Because this person, once the matches are over, is in town, there are people who are going to get in a matatu with the same guy. This guy said if you cross him the wrong way, if you eat his money or something, he will kill you. Understand this is somebody who moves every single day with people's daughters, aunties, and mothers next to him, either if it's in a matatu, public areas, public spaces, offices, he is there. So why not talk to him, understand how he thinks? And even in the States, they do this a lot. They interview serial killers, they interview child molesters. I don't know if you've seen like the popular one. They're asking this guy, like, how do you pick like even kids that you can take advantage of? And he starts saying like, you know, if there's no strong father figure, that's the first kid that I approach because I know there's nobody who's going to come and attack me violently or just like make me feel uneasy, like somebody will look for me. But if there's no father figure, strong father figure in the house, that's the first, excuse me, that's the first person that they approach. But we will see all these things. They interview like rapists, they interview murderers, like proper serial killers. They sit them down, always switch, and even like in interrogation rooms, they light up the camera and then they start talking to them. Just to understand, because when you see people or young kids or boys writing those things on the comment section, they're the serial killers.
Bless you.
Bless me. They're the serial killers who are coming up in the next 10, 15 years. And you'll notice
It's
now, we're having a lot of copycat killers. It's not like how Kitambo it used to be like, you know,
I think
somebody
it's
has
'cause
just
of,
killed.
information access. You see,
Yeah, social
you see
media,
this Jeffrey Dahmer guy on Netflix. You're like, ooh,
Chopping
you
up
know,
bodies, all those. They never used to be there like
Yeah,
Kitambo.
so now you're getting ideas.
Getting ideas. But we see, now that's also like another thing you understand.
Yeah.
That's influence as well. Somebody has seen like, oh, this guy was
That
on the
is
news for
influence.
this and everything.
And that guy is not even like looking for a brand deal.
He's not looking for a brand deal. So even him is like, if I'm going to kill, I would kill and make sure it's this way, because most of them, like, even when they're caught, they just chill. You don't see them like crying on him. They're just chilling.
Yeah.
They're unmoved.
Scary stuff.
It's very scary. But that's what I'm saying. It's important to understand what makes men think like that.
Yeah.
And the only way you can know
Is
and
by
help
asking them.
is by asking.
Here's
So,
my thing with that, though.
yeah.
I hear you like, okay, yeah, that's a very interesting perspective, but these conversations should be happening from jail cells, okay? In Kenya, our criminal justice system is so flawed.
Yeah.
People don't go to jail for doing the crazy things they do to women. Police themselves do crazy things to women. So there's no accountability. So I don't think we're in a position to start having a conversation about, oh, let's try and understand where they are coming from without first getting them off the streets. Because all these femicide cases, who has been arrested for femicide? Let me take you back to the Kware incident.
Yeah.
Guys, this story for Kware, like, I hope we never forget.
Which one is it? What are we talking about?
Kware dump site, when the bodies of 11 women were uncovered, and there were way more.
Is this during the Mandamano and stuff?
It was shortly after. It
Okay.
was around that period. of
Oh,
June,
yeah.
And they were
okay.
found in a dump site, which, by the way, is behind a police station. What I found so interesting is civilians and civil society groups are the ones who are uncovering these bodies. What are the police doing? The police are tear gassing them, trying to remove them from there, when the police should, in effect, actually be looking for these bodies also.
Yeah.
Right? And then quiet. And then some guy walks into a police station, takes accountability, says, I killed all those people. Right? And then 2 weeks later, the guy breaks out of jail.
That was the funniest thing.
Yeah, no,
I've
let me
never
tell
heard
you,
of such a ridiculous
Kenya
thing.
is a joke.
That was a big joke.
Kenya is a joke. A very big joke. So you can't tell me we're in a position to start talking to these people to try and understand their mindset.
Yeah.
Before we even get them off the streets, our number one priority should be to make sure these people face the system and stay in the system.
Yeah.
A person who is very, very close to me was kidnapped in a bolt. And yeah,
A lady?
sort of, yeah, I guess. You can say that biologically. But
Oh, hold on.
no, let's not digress.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
because
that
that's
will
not
be
the
a
point.
whole other.
Yeah, that's not the
We'll
point.
just.
Was kidnapped. And yes, at this time, the criminal was taken to jail. But when they went back for a court hearing, this person had come out on bail and was just walking around. Can you imagine how traumatizing that is?
I know.
To go into a courtroom and to see people who kidnapped you free, and then they walk out with you through the same door and they go about their business. So what is that? What are we doing to take care of women? President Ruto allocates 100 million to fight femicide. Do you know the state of gender-based violence rescue centers in Nairobi? They eat the same food as prisoners. Yes. And many of these women have children. Many of these women, if those men find them, will kill them.
True.
What money are we giving to survivors? What money are we, what sensitivity training are we doing for police? Do you know that if you get raped today and you go to a police station to report it, you're so likely to get re-traumatized because they'll make you live through the events of the day over and over. They won't treat you with any care. They'll just traumatize you again to the point where now people are scared of reporting. And even if I do report, what's going to happen? So without reporting, we should have like a published sex offenders list.
That would be good. Like
That
the
would be
States.
good. But here, like, sex offenders are everywhere all the time,
Yeah, it's unfortunate. That's unfortunate.
They can be your lecturers. They can be your friends. Fans are your friends. And anywhere you go, even when you talk about someone who has violated another person, there will always be someone to come to their defense. And that's just what really sickens me,
Now, I do have like a question like on that. But do you think it's important just for people, both men and women, to have that discussion? Because at times I don't think women at times understand what men are capable of. Because
I disagree with that.
No. I'm telling you because at times and even think about like even when you hear about incidents that we see like even online, at times I think women need to understand that men they can be dangerous. And even at times like when maybe it's playing advocacy and everything, but please still notify and make sure that young girls understand that men can actually harm you if they want to.
I think actually we are very aware of that, and it's like people are scared.
No, can I?
Check.
Okay. Okay.
I'm running a series actually called We Are Not Safe. And I've been filming for it because I want to get enough videos before I post.
Okay.
And I'm still dabbling with the name because I know We Are Not Safe is like a hashtag, so I don't know if I can use that. But like, yeah, something around those lines. And I've been asking young women in Kenya, do you feel safe living in Kenya? And even young men, by the way, I've been asking them the same question. But back to young women, we don't feel safe. We know that today I get in this Uber. Do you know the hypervigilance? Kwanza, forget even Ubers, public transport. Oh my goodness. In matatus, and imagine no one will stand up for you. It's very hard. I've been in a position where I've been harassed in a matatu. Some guy had his hand on my leg. And
like whole hand like
yes,
this?
his whole hand on my leg.
By mistake, or he's holding your thigh?
How can I put my hand here by accident?
No, actually, honestly, understand when I'm asking. I'm not those ones of like, Atikwani, how would he put a hand? No. I'm asking those ones like, guys, I'm just trying to understand like somebody who can seriously do that. Like
much
just
on purpose. I was on my way from Kiserian.
Yeah.
And his hand was on my thigh. And, I kept telling him to stop. And I kept getting louder, telling him to stop, and nobody in the matatu even.
So his hand is still there?
Yeah.
He's not moving the hand?
Until now, someone got off the matatu and I switched seats. But nobody said anything and nobody came to my defense, which is like, I'm sure that that's not like your typical situation. I'm sure that someone somewhere would have said something.
Yeah.
I think there's a video I saw trending of someone standing up for someone else in a matatu. I don't remember the details, but that's my experience and I'm saying it here.
Yeah.
So the hypervigilance, I remember like going home and having my shower that day and just scrubbing my leg, like, I just felt so,
nasty, violated.
Yeah, exactly. Like, why would you just touch me like that?
Yeah.
So I think we know, women know, girls know, and also we are conditioned. Ever since we are young, we are told, oh, your uncle is coming over, go put on some trousers. So it's a conditioning that we have in our heads. Like, why am I supposed to change what I'm wearing in my house because of a man coming over?
But
because we are being told, we've been conditioned to be told men can't control themselves. Even men start to believe this narrative.
I want to jump in there. Like, you see, even the same thing that you've said, like, even, and that's important even for people to understand, and even just have an open discussion. Not that I'm trying to protect these people, attacking these people. But I'm just saying, like, for somebody to say that to you, if it's a mother or if it's your dad, it's like, oh, visitors are coming, Ibu, go and dress properly. It's like uncles and ninnies. It's like, then again, it still takes me back to, that's why I'm telling you, like, the only person who can explain to you how dangerous men are, it's men. Because that's why, like, even for me, I can walk in a certain street and I would just see guys based on how they are dressed and I would cross the street.
Are you
as a guy?
Them?
100%. No, 100%. 100%. If I see with a lot of silver jewelry, safari boots, or certain sneakers, I'm crossing to the other side. And remember, I'm doing that. I do not care whether it's profiling or not. It's because, like, I already know. Like, I either make this decision now or in the next few seconds.
You could regret it, but you don't want to take that chance.
So I'm not taking you call me like profiling sour, me, I'm on the other side.
Yeah.
But it's safety first. But that's what I'm saying, like, it's so important because men know. And that's why, like, you'll even notice, like, even, let's say if there's, before you start seeing, like, in normal sense, like, even if it's in town, if, like, I bump into someone, it's a guy or, like, regardless. But even, let's just say normal cases, a girl, of course, I'll say, but if it's a guy, I'm always like, hey, I say, bro, sorry. Because, and even him, chances are very high, even him, he'll say sorry. Because we just don't know what the other person is capable of.
But then again, and I want to challenge this narrative of let's talk to our girls. Even the president stood there and he said, I'm aware of the femicide crisis. Let's talk to our girls, not to accept no. Like, we need to bring the conversation to men.
Let's
and
talk about
tell
that,
our men to stop killing women, to stop raping women, to stop harassing women, even with your words. The likes of Kina Andrew Kibe. It can, like, and I don't think also guys understand, like, gender-based violence is verbal. it's a mindset. Like, and that's something I'm so heavy on advocating for. People think that gender-based violence is if you took your arm right now and you beat me up because I'm a woman. But it happens when you make me uncomfortable, and you can tell that you're making, like right now, if I was to behave in a certain way, you'd know I'm not feeling very comfortable.
No, I would not.
And you keep persisting.
Wait. Is that why you had to bring your bestie? Hey, listen, I always ask this on their podcast because you know why? Hold on, I'll explain. I don't get offended by they, because I always ask by they, because at times there's this girl that I interviewed, right? And I remember we were just talking, and from that day I always ask like all the girls, just after or during the podcast. So I asked her like, hey, by the way, we're talking about so many different things, and then I think we're talking about like gender-based violence.
Yeah.
And she said like, like even when I was coming here, I really have kubeba like something on my handbag. I'm like what do you mean? Like I have a knife on my...
Whoa.
So I'm like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, okay, wait. So when I invited you to the podcast, the first thing you did is like, okay, so you go through my profile and say like, okay,
that's
so
what I did.
Yeah.
I could see you have like a studio. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
But let me not lie to you. It's funny that you asked that question because I didn't feel unsafe.
Yeah.
And that is not why I brought my friend. I didn't know what to expect. If I knew actually she'd be in the other room, I wouldn't have asked her to come. But when you opened the door, like when I rang the bell and then you opened the door, that's when I was like, I don't know him, by the way. Like, this is the first time we met.
You realized that.
That is, I actually did have that thought in my head. I was like, oh. But at the same time, like, someone knows where I am, and then immediately I felt comfortable again.
Did you drop, like, locations to, like, people close to you and stuff?
Yeah, always.
Yeah. I always ask. So now I talk to this girl.
Because I don't know you.
Oh, no, I understand. Yeah. That's just thinking. And you see, oh, wait, is that profiling?
No, that's not profiling. It's just that
you can say yes. You can say yes. No, but it's just taking precaution, just in case.
Yeah.
And that's why I was explaining to you, I have to cross the street if I'm just like,
and this is a residential area also.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And that I understand. So like the lady, I was talking to her and then I'm like, so you have it here in your bag? She's like, yeah. I'm like, but let me see
I like her.
On the podcast, she opens. She has like a big ass knife that has a pink handle.
Where can I get one of those?
So and I'm asking her like, yo, but now she explained. Now we start talking. She's been raped over 5 times.
Oh.
Since she was like in primary, with relatives, people she knows, and all that. So it's happened. Teacher, primary school teacher, and all that. So she's gone through all that. But as we were talking, I just understood where she's coming from. And that's why I'm like, I understand like why you have it. But just after we were done with the episode, she was like, hey, I had such a good time.
Yeah.
Thank you for making me feel safe and everything. But I was telling her like, as you should, that's just precaution.
Yeah.
Because like nobody knows. Nowadays we see so many crazy stories like online.
Yeah.
And even for me, like if it's my sister, I would want her to take the same precaution. So just take precaution. There's nothing like you can profile, you can take just say like, for safety, drop a pin to your friends. And then there was another app that I was shown, like you can connect like a circle of your friends, where if you're somewhere, it just shows where you are last, like every 30 minutes. It sends like there's an app, I've forgotten the name, but I'll figure it out and then.
That's cool. Like if I was like a more outside person, that would be that.
So you can create a network of friends, family, you can create different networks, but they all kind of know like where you are.
That's really nice.
Yeah, so
I probably need that as an activist.
You have to. And even just advising other like young girls too.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
And then there's something that, we're touching on, like you said about conversation about, you said the president said, or was it like...
we need to tell our girls.
What exactly? We need to tell our girls...
To stop...
taking money from men.
There's somebody who said
something
that about
as well.
seeing strangers. Gosh, I can't quote Ruto directly on that, but it was basically about advising our girls to take precaution against men with ill intent. And that really bothers me, especially because you're the president. Why don't you address the men directly? Why don't you? You know the way he came and he told protesters that he will deal with us thoroughly. Why can't he stand there and tell men you will deal with them thoroughly, Mr. President? Why don't you say that?
But I think why why that would be the case, or even you'd hear like other ladies. There's a lady, I don't know if it's a senator or governor, who said something, and she got so much backlash for that because she said a lot of our women are dying because of desperation or greed for money.
I think I
You
remember
that conversation?
I remember that.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, like, okay,
What do you feel about that? And then I can respond.
about
Her statement.
about her statement, I think it's wrong.
Okay.
Because it's the same thing that we are talking. Let me tell you, all these issues are interlinked. It's the same thing that we are talking about when we are talking about this Dentsu thing. I am never going to turn and look at the creators and say this is your fault. I am never going to turn and look at women and say you deserved to die because this guy promised to maybe he promised you X, Y, Z. As a woman, you are free to know what you want to take from men and what you don't. And if you want to take money from men in exchange for relationships, in exchange for sex, imagine you're very okay to do that. I don't have a problem with anyone who does that. And you don't have, like, nobody has the right to tell you that you deserve rape or you deserve to be killed because that's the decision you made. You should be able to make your decision and not suffer for it. The person who needs to suffer is the person who would do such a thing to someone.
I have a question. And again, devil's advocate. I'm not supporting or defending anyone.
Yeah, it's good journalism.
Yeah. Is prostitution legal or illegal in the country?
It's illegal, but I think...
So it's a criminal offense.
Yes, you're not supposed to do sex work.
Yeah. So.
But wait, let me ask you something. No.
Hey.
Devil's advocate. Devil's advocate.
Okay.
Devil's advocate.
I haven't even said anything.
Taking money in exchange for sexual favors is what you call prostitution. Like, what is it?
Yeah.
I don't know the
Yeah,
law
that's
like that.
prostitution.
Okay, so if I have a sugar daddy, I'm doing something illegal.
No, that's a relationship. We're talking about, like, it's
But
like
what if you
it's like
have
buying
a
drugs.
relationship with someone, but it's for that period of time?
No.
And
I think
also,
we
we
both
don't
know how
know-
it works. It's somebody, like, and even nowadays it could be like just an online communication transaction, and like I'm saying, like, anybody can do whatever they want.
Let me tell
But
you,
I'm just trying to say
sex
that
work is work too. Let me start by saying that. So
Are you
yes,
saying what?
sex work is work too. Like, sex work is work, and prostitution is a profession, and
In
people
Kenya?
do it all the time. Like, it's a profession in general. It might be illegal, but I still think that it shouldn't be. And I think that
You don't think prostitution should be legal?
I don't think so. I think that we need to safeguard women. Like, that's going to be my point of view. And sex workers. Why? Because also men engage in sex work, Men engage in sex work as the consumers of it. It's not something that's ever going to go anywhere. Yet women suffer so much because of lack of regulation, lack of safety, It's never going to go anywhere. Okay, let me not talk about the other thing because
What?
I'm on a camera.
Oh, it's too sensitive.
No, like, just, we talked about our brands. But
Okay,
when it comes to sex work, I really do think, like, people are going to do it anyway. I can use abortions as an example. Till now, I don't get why abortions are illegal in Kenya. This is, again, you're trying to police what women do with their own bodies. If I want to use my body in exchange for sex, a profession as old as time, then I can be able to do that. It's not for the government to tell me whether I should or should not.
Can I ask a question on the abortion thing? Does it matter, like, how long the fetus has developed?
I think so, because here's my perspective. Number one, let me start by outlining that it could, in case like maybe even you're 6 months along, and this could cause a health risk to both you and the child, where one of you could end up dead, both of you. No, most times it'll be the mother to end up dead, or both. Then I think in that case, like, that's a non-negotiable.
So we can agree, for health reasons, first,
Yes.
that should be the first priority.
Yes.
What
But I
the
do think we
second-
also live in a world now where it's hard for you to get, if you don't want to get pregnant, number one, it's hard for you to get pregnant if you're having sex consensually. right?
Yeah.
It's 2025. We have lots of options
So many
available
different,
to both women and men
Yeah.
for contraception.
Yeah.
It's also hard for you to get to the point where you're 4 months pregnant and you've not known. But of course, I say this knowing that there's many nuances, there's many complexities.
Yeah.
But I think generally, as a rule of thumb, abortion should be a thing of last resort. You know, like if you don't want to get pregnant, consensually, you can try and take some steps to avoid it. But also considering that I have that information. I know how to not get pregnant. Someone else doesn't have that information. I worked as a social worker for some time. Shout out to Pauline Akinyi. She's a really, really cool woman. And I got to learn a story whereby there's a young girl who got pregnant. I think she was 14. And she had slept with someone who's around the same age as her. It was consensual. Just teenagers. Yeah, 14, 15.
Yeah.
And they used protection, but she got pregnant. But the way the condom was applied, I think he had put it like on his finger or something. So you see, lack of information. And I'm not
they're
making
still
up.
kids and they're learning. They're not
you
sure
don't
how
know,
they're supposed to.
You don't know what you're supposed to do
you.
with it. You know, if I use this, I won't get pregnant.
Okay.
But you don't know what to do with it. And this time you're living somewhere in Kajiado, very remote place.
In fact,
You
those
don't
places,
have that information.
Even the supply for the condoms
even
might
if you
not
do
be
have
there.
the information, exactly. So you see, these situations are very nuanced. I'm 15.
Yeah.
Maybe I might not even know I have a ball
True.
until I don't know when. What are my options, you know?
But that's what I'm saying. But you see, like, those are isolated incidents in the wait.
No, I was
in
agreeing
the
with
rural areas. But in the city, we wouldn't want. I think it's because why it's still illegal, because you understand how things can go out of hand.
Yeah.
And at times, I also still say this on the podcast, at times, as men, it's also still our job at the end of the day to protect women. And at times, as much as we protect women, we do also protect them from themselves.
Explain 10
Okay,
marks.
listen. 10 months. Okay, now I understand. Now, have you seen, like, even just recently, the trend of, like, useless things I got my child on TikTok, and then somebody posted baby
I
daddy?
think I saw so.
You haven't seen that?
Wait, I think I saw like something along the lines of that trend this morning. But you need to understand.
you haven't seen?
My interactions with TikTok lately have been very.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay, just completely different. But it's like there's a song like plays behind the scenes, and then behind, like on the background, and then somebody shows a picture of their kid, and then they show the baby daddy. And you can see like so many women just posting. But now that opens up the conversation, and you know, this has always been like in a debate in like just on YouTube over the past 2 to 3 years. Like, you know, a lot of the times, like, and we're saying like, forget about the incidents where somebody's taken advantage of, but we're just talking about like where women have that choice of like saying like, okay, I want to have a kid with this guy. But now you should have seen like now just the pictures of the baby daddies that were being posted. You're just like, you really wanted this guy. Like, we're all seeing it. Like, he's not capable of taking care of the kid.
Stop.
No, 100%. Like, it was so crazy and wild to a point where you're like, I just don't understand. How did this guy convince you?
As for me, I'm not in the business of judging anybody's decision.
Oh, we should judge. Absolutely.
No.
I show you a picture of one baby
not-
daddy, and then you tell me if you can accept. He can convince you.
But I'm not. He's not my baby daddy, so why should
But I just want to show you a picture.
But he's
Just
not-
they won't see,
John.
but I just want you to tell me like your feedback, right? Because I could see, and the kid is so beautiful, by the way. I'm
You
just
see,
like such a
that's
nice
beautiful.
blessing.
That's good. At the end of the day, actually, I've been in those situations where
Yeah.
you've dealt with, like in my family, you've dealt with babies, unexpected babies.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, when the baby comes, that's the only
This
thing
was
that
the baby
matters.
daddy.
Oh, he's a bit young though. Huh?
Yeah.
He's a child. That's what I've
Oh,
noticed. He's
he's-
a child. How, is he like even a?
Yeah,
an
he's
adult?
legal. He's legal.
Oh, okay. Then that's not my business. As long as he's legal and
Can he convince you to have a kid for you?
Of course not, but that's me. But if you
Well,
can
so,
convince
no,
someone else,
no.
I'm not gonna judge.
Because I'm not
that
even a woman,
person.
but I'm just like, yo, he doesn't need to convince me, but I'm saying like, I need to know how he convinced you.
No, actually, at the
but-
moment, I don't think anyone could convince me to have a baby.
Wait, are you in a relationship right now?
Oh, that's entirely my business.
Oh, okay. No, you know, my podcast focuses on health, wealth, love, and happiness. And I'll tell you why at times, even how we look at things at times, depending on whether you're single or a relationship, it's also like a big determining factor on how you approach a lot of different things.
I just think like for the work I do,
Yeah.
like that's just, if I'm in a relationship, only the people that matter will know.
We know Boniface Mwangi's kids, wife.
Yeah, I'm not married. Actually, I'm single until I'm married, by the way. Yeah.
Okay, guys, you know what I always say, like, you know, you see a beautiful guest, please be respectful, but, you know, you can always approach them accordingly.
No, don't.
No, with respect. How do you meet people then? Do you even meet people as an activist?
No, like people, like don't approach me with romantic intent. But
people
that's DM me all the time,
you
like
are.
yeah. Don't text me like, oh, can
But
we
do
go
they
for a
ask
date?
take you out for a date or something?
Like in my DMs.
Yeah.
Those I don't reply to those DMs, but yeah, I get them.
Really?
The DMs I'll reply to is if someone like, hey, I saw this, blah blah blah, or hey, the way you DM'd me and you said, hey, I want to have you on my podcast. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Why not? Like,
yeah, I had to go straight to the point. Me, I don't like so
that's
many
the other
different
thing.
stories.
Let me give you guys some advice, because sometimes someone will DM me, and I don't know why you're DMing me, but you'll DM me and you'll be like, hey,
and then
I'm not gonna respond to that. Stay. Why are you here?
What do you?
How can I help?
Make
you?
it brief so that now she understands if she wants to.
Exactly. Now I'll engage you further. Hey,
Yeah.
or hey Tatiana, I'm doing this. Do you think you could help me out with this? Or someone can even ask me something like, hey, someone asked me something about, I like that mic you're using. Where did you get it? I'll reply immediately. True. Like, yeah.
But I'll tell you why I've asked about like even relationship. It's because like I've had a debate probably on the podcast, and I've always asked, do you think like now just with the new generation, I think just the battle of gender roles is what is almost like causing a lot of friction between men and women. And
of course, I don't believe in gender roles.
Of course.
Of course not.
Oh, wait. Oh, wait, can we talk about this or no?
Okay, I feel like...
Or just give me your perspective.
Yeah, let me just
so that it's not like a debate.
My relationship with gender roles.
Yeah.
When it comes to social media, I find like social media makes things toxic. So for example, like, okay, Nara Smith, we all know Nara Smith, we all love Nara Smith.
Yeah.
But like, we don't have to normalize the whole traditional wife thing. And I feel like sometimes the algorithm can be so like, men are supposed to be these people who provide everything and buy everything, and you're just supposed to go and do Pilates and get your nails done and like have babies. And it's like, feminism is about choice, right? Like, if that's what you want to do, then do that. Personally, like in my own personal interactions with men, I would say like, is it that gender roles are not present? Not entirely. Like, there are some things that, I would prefer if a guy does, like pay for dates, right? But I also have absolutely no problem in so doing. And just because you pay for a date doesn't mean that I clean up after you or something silly like that.
No. It's not that kind of thing.
But
I'm just saying,
I
like, it would
like
be nice if a guy just,
gender roles are like, they are these things in our society that create a society that makes it very unequal between men and women. And so that's why, as a whole idea, I reject it. But like, oh my gosh, if I see one more person on my timeline talking about the divine feminine, like, I just can't. Like as a woman, you can be whatever you want to be. You can be whoever you want to be, whether that's considered masculine or not. And as a man, you can be what you want to be, who you want to be, whether that's considered feminine or not. Like, yeah.
I get you. Now, there is something else that I want to touch on before we go to political aspirations.
Okay.
Because I know you're definitely heading towards that direction.
Oh my goodness.
But now, even when we're talking about like exploitation and why I was trying to explain, I had written down something and I've just seen it now. how at times it's so hard to tell people when they're being exploited, and they know and they've accepted. Like, let's say I would take something like the beauty industry,
Yes.
billion-dollar industry, right? And we all know, like we see like our market right now flooded with skin lightening products. A lot of them.
But they actually, those on TikTok who didn't manage to discredit me because of other reasons, actually alluded to me bleaching my skin, which I thought was crazy.
Wait, what?
Imagine.
They said, wait, what did they say?
Actually, it's so
What
funny
did they
because
say?
one of my classmates pointed it out to me. They told me like, hey, I saw you on TikTok. And then I saw in this comment, someone is saying you did mkorogo to your skin. I was like, walai, that's what they said. So I went and checked. Imagine, that's what someone said. Anyway. Sorry, I digress.
No, I understand. But that's what I'm talking about, like such things. And you will notice like have a lot of women who are like buying the products as well. We all know those things are dangerous. They can give you cancer, other health. There are so many other health risks. And even that aside, even with things like makeup and stuff, you see like even like a lot of young girls starting to use makeup like super early, 16, 17, 18. They're already using
I started
makeup.
wearing makeup at 14.
14. Okay, but now, but you know, you can still respond to this. You can just let me know. Because like I've said, like even case in point, you said like 14. But makeup does, like, you know, when you start that early, even using it, it might like kind of affect like, no. Wait.
Where is
No,
the
no. Wait. Because remember, there will always be cheap products and there's always going to be high-end products, which is really, really good. But remember again, we're in a third world country. How many people will afford good quality makeup products that they will apply on their face?
Yeah.
And how many people have we seen, like even influencers advertising some certain products that we know very well might not be the best quality, but because they've gotten a little bit of a back end check, they're pushing the products for other young girls.
I feel like as a general rule of thumb though in influencing, most times you shouldn't advertise something you wouldn't use. It's different if, like, for example, I've seen many influencers advertising Infinix phones or something, but they use iPhones. I think that's a little different. But generally, as a rule of thumb, see, we're talking about how to do better as a creator, as an influencer, which brands to take, which deals to take. As a rule of thumb, first of all, don't accept every brand that wants to do a promo with you. Like, imagine say no. Sometimes it's quite empowering. And if you wouldn't use it yourself, don't use it. And actually, what you're saying about makeup is true. Do you know, I was having a conversation with a friend just today, and we were saying how there's some lip gloss. You know, you can buy lip gloss even for 50 bob.
Yeah.
There's some lip gloss you apply on your lips, and then when you wipe it off, your lips are cracked.
Yes.
They're black.
Yes.
And you've just worn it for like a few minutes. You know, you can apply it and immediately it starts.
How many people do you think buy that lip gloss?
Yeah, it happens. Even me, I can end up buying such lip gloss.
No, and even not even just that. Understand, if those things are in the market, they're here because people are buying them, and not in small numbers. And even when somebody, like your friend said, like, you know, somebody has posted something on your comment section about you using
Bleaching
like
my
mkorogo.
skin.
But where do you think mkorogo is bought? It's not bought in Uptown. Where is it normally bought? See, downtown, River Road and those sides. No. There's a street like just specialized.
I actually
like
didn't know.
River
You're the
Road.
one who's told me. I didn't know people still bleach their skin. I
What?
thought that was like 2010,
Yo,
2008 stuff.
It's super common. It's
I
super
didn't know
common
that.
because a lot of people, like, even if I've had like promo girls like who've come like in the podcast. There are some certain agencies, they will pick only light skinned girls. When you go for certain activations and then you see like just all the promo girls are like a majority are light skin or fair skin.
Yeah, it's true.
It's not just a coincidence. So if I'm still young and all my friends are getting those gigs, they'll tell me like, yes, but you
really
try this
messed up.
but also again, understand the same industry that we're talking about, like when we're talking about exploitation, at times it's so hard, even if you're trying to advocate for the right thing, because the same people, they're like, I need to pay my bills.
Yeah.
I'll be approached by better men, or in fact, in your case, they'll say, you don't want me to be light-skinned like you. And you know, women are very direct. They'll tell you like, you're light-skinned, so that's why you don't want me to be light-skinned, because I'll get better opportunities, better men will date me and all those things.
Which is quite a crazy thing to say because it's
like,
like...
but no. Listen, that thing about like light skin and dark skin, if you bring those two and ask them the questions and opportunities, they'll tell you. They'll tell you about like me being light skin. I've benefited in these ways.
Yeah, I agree. Like I can
men
tell you,
approach me this way. Opportunities, giving me money, all those things. It's there.
It's true.
It's there.
It's true. Colorism, especially in some industries, I would say more than others.
Yeah.
I think to
entertainment
date,
industry.
Yeah, entertainment. Because I would say to date, there is no position or job or anything that I have gained because of the color of my skin. However, it's not like I've never privileged or had a experienced privilege because of the color of my skin.
You can notice.
Yeah, you can notice. Like for example, so my grandmother is Russian. Let me clear that up.
Your grandma is Russian.
My grandma is Ukrainian, but
like
still that time it was the same country when she was born. So so my dad is a Kikuyu. My mom is half Russian, half Maasai. So my grandma married a Maasai. And so that's why I'm the color that I am. And that's also why my name is Tatiana, which is quite a Russian. Yeah. Okay. And that's why my name is Tatiana, which is, quite a Russian name.
Oh, okay.
Now, I notice the difference when I go somewhere with my grandmother versus when I go out with a bunch of my friends. It's a mix of racism. It's a mix of ageism also because people don't take young people seriously. But let's say my grandma and I go for lunch at a certain restaurant and we sit down. The waiter will pull out her chair, he'll put it back, he'll give us like menus immediately. The service is super fast,
Yeah, there you go.
I go to the same restaurant the next day with a group of my friends,
Yeah.
A bunch of youngins, It'll take forever to get service.
Different
It'll take forever before someone even brings you a menu.
Fact.
Yeah. So
that's what I'm saying. Like, so that's why that industry is booming, and that's why you'll still find like young girls still finding themselves in that. So you can't tell that girl not to bleach because she's like, I'll get better opportunities. I've seen it working for other people or people that I know. So I'd rather do it because it will change my life. So that's another example of me just saying like at times you might want to, but this person is getting. It's like, let's say we say, the way we've said, the reason why I ask about like prostitution, right? Let's just say if you went on your social media platform and today said like, I would
sex work is work too.
No. You say sex work should be abolished in Kenya and anyone who's caught doing it should serve like at least 20 years maximum. I'm just saying an example.
I would never say that.
No. Hold on.
Contrary to
Hold on. Yeah. But I'm just saying if that was like your stance maybe and you said that, you know how many livelihoods you would affect in this country?
Yeah, exactly. That is exactly my point.
But still, remember, at the end of it all, if we're going with the law and morals and the right thing, it's not the right thing to do.
Law, maybe. Morality, subjective. I know sex workers. Personally, like
I do
real
too.
Sex workers.
I do.
To them,
I've had them on the podcast.
You know what morality is to them?
Yeah.
John? Morality is their kids going to school.
That's why I say livelihood.
Yeah. Morality is their kids going to school. Do you know how rough it is out here?
No.
Like, morality is... Actually, I've interacted with sex workers who feel so powerfully about what they do. Yeah. You know how I love what I do? Yes, they love what they do. They bring... They'll say maybe they bring comfort to people. Yeah. Everybody has their reasons.
Which is true. At the
end of the day,
industry, listen, we're just discussing.
Your
I'm
body,
not here. I'm not,
your choice.
Yeah, your body, your choice. But also, like
people
now,
out here doing all that for free. You've shown me that picture of that baby daddy. Yeah, people out here doing this stuff for free.
Okay, so now you understand that picture that I've shown you. Now you understand what I'm talking. No, you see, the truth comes out.
People are doing this stuff for free and ending up as
in
single
terrible
mothers,
situations.
Terrible
situations.
Yeah, who are we to start telling women that they are doing the wrong thing?
Because even for my case, I would still say, yes, it's something, because at this point, I don't know if you are aware of this, but Kenya is top 10 in the world for sex tourism.
What is sex tourism? Like the way people go to like
flying
red light
in
district in Amsterdam?
Yeah, it's just because for us now, it's not being like, there are no rules and regulations and, policies that protect. But
So people fly into engage.
don't tell me you don't know this.
I don't know this.
There is no way.
This is the first.
If you just
if I
Google-
know, I'll know.
If you do a quick Google, because even just for your activism and everything, you'll
Sex
understand
tourism.
sex tourism, Kenya is top 10 in the world.
Wow.
And remember, we're up against countries like Thailand, Spain, Brazil.
Now, Thailand, I
Kenya.
heard of it.
Yeah, Kenya is top 10, but you understand that means it's quite like...
Kenyan sex workers
No,
are
no,
doing the thing.
No.
They're doing the thing.
Listen. But I'm just saying, still at the end of it all, we also have to understand,
Yeah.
yes, as much as, yes, that's an industry on
And
its
the
own.
sex
that's-
workers are not even the ones benefiting the most from that,
Yeah.
Like, imagine how much they pay in bribes
Yeah.
to cops. Imagine how much they get paid
Yeah.
to begin with. Because also, I think it's a thing of also knowing your worth. And that's something I want to talk to you about. Who called me today? I think it was my dad.
Mhm.
My dad called me, Tati, I've seen this thing you're doing. And he basically told me that he's proud of me because it's all about helping people realize their worth.
True.
And that was such a really nice thing to hear because I think that is exactly it, helping people realize their worth. And I don't even think maybe sex workers here, I don't know honestly how much it costs.
Yeah.
But whatever it costs, it should cost way more than that,
Mhm.
I don't like this idea that you can either be a sex worker or an escort. Like, there should be the same kind of standard for everyone.
It ranges because, I've done a lot of podcasts. It ranges, can be from 200 up to maybe
200.
20,
That's not
30.
even minimum wage.
But,
You're not even comparing it to how much people
No,
should.
but-
I wouldn't charge anyone 200
No.
unless.
But I'm talking about think about people who are coming up from places like Kibera.
Yeah, because that 200 shillings goes a long way.
Yeah, that's dinner or something.
Yeah.
And that's why
Yeah,
I'm
but-
saying you also have to understand when I brought that up, I was trying to explain how it's so hard even to protect people who are being exploited sometimes, because remember, if the door is open for let's say sex tourism and just prostitution in general, it also always attracts so many other different things. That's why maybe if the law is there to protect them, that would be a good thing.
But when something is illegal, you can't regulate it.
Exactly.
It's the same thing with abortions.
Exactly.
You know how many people die every day
Because
of
they're
being
trying to
illegal
do
of
something.
abortions.
Very
You could just
true.
make it safe for people,
Very true. Now, for this case, especially when I talk about sex tourism, now remember, it attracts a lot of predators from countries like Europe who come to our country and actually now exploit children. Because when you go to places like, Malindi, Lamu, all those two places in the coast, see, that's where this old white man, there's this guy, I've forgotten the name, who actually was a registered sexual offender from the Netherlands who came to Kenya.
But why was he allowed?
Hold on. He came to Kenya and guess what he started? A children's home.
Oh my goodness.
And you know what he did?
Oh my goodness.
Yes. Let me see if I can just find the name.
Oh my
And
God, that's
so that it's something that it's not, I'm just not pulling things from Nini.
That's awful. Because if you want to get a visa right now to go to Netherlands, do you know the deep dive they will do? And they will check
Yeah.
and they'll say, oh my God, what is this? You're not welcome here.
Mhm.
How was he even allowed in the country as a registered sex offender?
Come on, it's Kenya. Everybody gets in. I'm just trying to see. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Where? Let's
So
see.
he just had a child.
Yeah. And even there was a YouTube video of some women who
Oh
who
my
are
God.
exploited by him when they were slightly younger, and they had come to hear his. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's his name. I'll send you the links, but you see, this is at the Star now. There's even him appearing in court. He has so many pending cases.
Is
and
he in jail?
No, he kept on being released and going to open another again. He did 2 or 3 times.
Oh my gosh.
So that's why I'm saying we also
And
have to
he's
understand.
still in Kenya?
I don't know currently if he is, but because of the pending court cases,
They don't even write his name. They're calling him Zungu.
There's a name. The links are there because it's just something that was super big. But remember, he started children's home, and he was also doing that to kids. And it's so crazy because that's what I'm saying. Like, we also have to understand, like, when we say it's okay, and now morality gets affected because it's not the adults, like, no kids and people who maybe, let's just say, like, not in a financial position, they don't want to do it and they have to do it. Or, like, let's say in the coast
Yeah.
where moms are sending their kids to the beach to go and do it so that they can bring back money. Or, like, those ones who approach the mom and ask, like, can I sleep with your kid? And then the mom sells the kid so that they can.
Yeah, that's
We have to
trafficking.
acknowledge that this is happening currently. And some people, actually, some of those old white guys save up to come and do that in the country.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So, first of all, let me start by saying I didn't know what sex tourism is. It sounded
Come
very
on.
exciting when you first said it. That's why I was like, to me, when you say sex tourism, I'm thinking like, you know how I would go to Amsterdam and I'd want to go to the red light district
Yeah.
to see like naked women in the windows. So that's why I was like, oh my God,
No,
go,
no.
woo,
Let me correct you
yay.
first.
Now
When-
I know.
When
Thank
you go
for
to
telling me.
Netherlands, it's not you just looking at them in the windows. You can pay and actually go and.
Oh, I know.
Oh, okay. So at least you
I
know
think you can. Yeah.
that. No,
I
you
didn't
think
know.
you can.
Oh,
I was
okay.
there like 2 years ago.
Oh, that's cool. That's pretty cool.
I had to
though.
go and support the industry. I had to support women. I had to. Hey, listen.
Hey, but there it's like it's regulated, and I'm sure
Yeah.
actually you don't get a lot of these underground human trafficking
It's
as much.
it's less.
Yeah, it's less because it's
Yeah.
regulated. So now you know exactly what you're looking out
It's
for.
crazy because they even have, like, they'll ask you, like, do you want to pay cash or with card? And they have the
Wow,
they have
you
the
can scan your
you
pedicure,
can tap
to
Forget
pay.
you can tap to
Wow. No, let me tell you, that's
Actually,
pretty
it's
impressive. There's this lady
it's wild.
I see on online all the time, and she's like,
Yeah.
a day in the life of being a manager of a legal brothel. And I'm telling you, you're seeing the conditions that these women
Yeah.
are in, you know, like, wow, you know, sheets are changed every time, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. And you're just like, these are the kind of things that we can
And
do.
they pay taxes.
And they pay taxes.
Yeah.
Thank you. People are sleeping on it.
Yeah.
And these are the kind of things that we can do when we start to accept that
Yeah.
people have autonomy over their own bodies.
It's gonna happen regardless.
Yeah.
So
why don't we make it safe for them instead of
I agree.
saying, as a woman, you have no business doing that? And
Yeah.
most times, who faces the wrath of the law when it comes to prostitution? Not the people paying the prostitutes
always the
who
women.
are keeping it going. Exactly. It's always the women.
True.
And also because it's illegal, and because of the nature of what you do, some
Yeah.
sick cop somewhere will think it's okay to
course.
take advantage of you.
Always,
Because
yeah.
he says, like, that's what you do for a living.
there are no
So-
regulations again, so they can actually
Exactly.
just control
Exactly.
all those things. And then now, like, because I know we can always go along, but I think we can still do a part 2. But now I have to touch on, like, just, of course, political aspirations.
Yeah, before you release me. Today
Yeah.
was the last day of my exams, so I must go and celebrate.
Oh, okay,
I'm
okay, okay.
officially
and
now
plus
in my
it's
4th year.
and plus it's Friday, so congrats to that as well.
Thank you.
So now, political aspirations, and the reason why I wanted to bring this up, it's because even during, like, the Maandamano, there was something that's very important that stood out, because I saw, like, one of your clips talking to journalists and stuff, but also we did have, like, a lot of young people who are just, like, spokesmen, spokeswomen.
Yes.
But the one who stood out was, like, the guy with the bow tie.
Casmuel.
Casmuel, right? And I remember at that time. No, relax. Remember at that time, we were like, okay, this is somebody who's representing, like, the young people and the young voices. So what would make us look at you
Yes.
and not think that even for you, like, maybe, because I know I can see politicians will definitely approach you within a couple of, they're gonna come for you, that. They'll forget these brand deals just because of you being an activist, and number 2, being a woman. You are very, like, just you'd be like the best chess move for any political party to have.
And I mean, my background is very policy and politics oriented.
Already?
And yeah, I mean, I do international studies.
Oh, like-
International
yeah.
studies is politics
yeah.
on an international scale. Let me answer that question. So,
I hadn't even finished. How sure are we that when these guys come and give you that offer, you won't turn into Casmuel? Because, like, during that time, he was doing his speeches. You are also doing your activism,
Yeah.
like, online, and you're also, like, doing, like, the interviews as well with a lot of press
Yeah.
and stuff. So,
So-
how sure are we you won't turn on us?
so I think that's
Because
a
other
really-
women have done it as well.
So I think that's a really, really good question.
Okay.
Let me start by saying there's nothing wrong with young people and there's nothing wrong with activists aspiring for public office. Boniface Mwangi himself ran for MP of Starehe, I believe, in 2012. Was it 2012 or 2013? No, 2013. 2013 or 2017. I don't remember. Either 2013 or 2017.
Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with us aspiring for public office. In fact, actually, my first interactions of looking at Casmuel, people were saying he's like a modern day Tom Mboya.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing wrong with aspiring for public office. And I firmly believe the next president of Kenya should be an independent candidate. I have now problems when it comes to political parties, political affiliations. With Casmuel, it's that he sided with Raila Odinga. Raila Odinga has stabbed Kenyans in the back so many times with that handshake. You know, Raila Odinga has been co-opted so many times. So I think it was, first he aligned himself with Raila Odinga. He's flying around with him in choppers. He's benefiting firsthand from the corruption that people were dying when protesting about, you know. When the Mandamano was happening and people started talking about a Gen Z political party, and then people started bashing them down, I did not agree with that. Me, I was thinking anybody who's talking about a Gen Z political party is now thinking in the right direction. Because what change are we going to affect if we stay outside the system? Let me tell you, government have the power. You can stand outside and shout all you want, but finance bill was never rejected. It went through.
I said that on my podcast, and I was almost like, in fact, I said before the violence and chaos happened, I said like just how Kenyan politicians play their game.
Everything that was in that finance bill happened. I mean, we are still dealing with the effects of that today.
And a lot of people are
dying every day.
Exactly.
Private hospitals have stopped taking shift completely, right? And it's because the government owes hospitals money, and that's why we don't have money.
I've told like even
that's
Nairobi Hospital, there's a back order of like people, they are just payments that have never been done.
Yeah, and meanwhile we are asking for budgets to renovate State House, and we are asking for affordable housing. Even affordable housing, this is the government trying to implement projects that benefit them. Because what will you do with affordable housing and you can't get medicine?
Yeah.
What will you do with affordable housing and children are still learning under trees in schools?
True.
You know, what will you do with that affordable housing? Of course, it's a project that Ruto is making to make his own money, you know? So when we start thinking, how do we launch? And I say this, I don't remember which forum I was in. And I said this, we need to make young people, like we need to take young people outside of the spaces of advocacy, all the time advocating. No, we now need to be in decision-making spaces. We need to have our seat at the table, you know? So will I be a politician? Who knows?
Do you want to be a politician?
I don't think politics is for me.
Hold on.
No, let me tell you. Let me just finish.
Okay.
When I say politics is not for me, I mean maybe not like front and center. I know that doesn't seem like the thing. Everybody always tells me, oh Tatiana, we'll vote for you when the time comes. Maybe not front and center. I do have an interest in politics as a space, campaign and how it all works. It's very interesting to me. I find it interesting. That's why I am an activist, because I like looking at systems and why does it work this way, and what can I do? What can I do to make it better? And even if you were to ask me something like, you know, what are some of the ideas you have to make Kenya a better place? Like I can give you ideas. And so I understand that being in a position where probably I was president, I could do that. But I quite enjoy, maybe if I was to go into that, I would go into civil service or advisory. I don't know if I have the stomach for politics, quite frankly. And I want to remain always in a position where my integrity is never compromised.
Because, you know, once you join like especially like a party, it's almost impossible to say that you won't.
I really don't want to get sucked into the system. And as much as I do have a few politicians here and there that I know personally, I think they are good politicians, I don't want to endorse anyone, you know. You know, I don't want to endorse, because I might say that today and then tomorrow a scandal comes out, you know, like you never know. So always be wary of people that are already in the system, because it's a dirty system.
It's wild, because politics in general in Kenya, and even like, let's just think about like, because even for your case, you know, you would be representing like a lot of women if you got into it. And let's just be honest, like, lately also, like, women, we're already used to men acting in a certain way, especially like politicians. But now we've also seen like just a lot of like, just women in general who we did not expect to be that way. Because like I was even writing down, I was just like, like young girls when they're looking up to women, and we do have like just, let me just see so that I don't start saying random things without facts. Okay, so now like we can say like Kawera Mwangaza, who was just impeached recently, who faced at least like 7 charges, which included misappropriation and misuse of
Funds.
county resources and funds, nepotism, and related
But let me tell you,
unethical practices.
When it comes to people being held accountable in corruption, for corruption charges in this regime, including the deputy president, ex-deputy president, Rigathi Gachagua.
Oh, yeah.
It's not about justice. It's about them maybe pissing off someone somewhere up there at the top. Yeah. And this is so routine for Ruto's government. So I think we need to stop looking at so-and-so has been impeached or so-and-so has been removed. I know that that's not what you're saying, but I'm just putting that out there. Like, I want us to look at this systemic removal of DPs, of MPs, of attempted removal of the CJ, IGs, Inspector General Polices resigning. Like, what is happening? We've changed cabinet like 3 times. People are changing office. It's very, very suspicious, even all of it.
Another thing, even like just why I'm touching on like women representatives is because like, if you were to enter that political space,
that I would start with trying to vie for women rep.
No. Oh, no, that you'll take already. Definitely.
I actually
don't see yourself replacing Pasaris if
like, I actually think that whole thing of women rep just needs to go.
But, like
it's even
because you participated in the Femicide march, there were a lot of people who were booed.
I was there. I was
Esther
among the people
Pasaris
who told her to go home.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, why I'm
because she wants to come and tell us that the water you guys are drinking, the t-shirts you guys are wearing, I bought it. Where were you when women were being killed? Where
she's buying it with taxpayers' money. First of all, it's not your money.
You're the one who bought
it's not your money. Come on.
Yeah.
Okay, now, like, I'm just saying, like, a lot, and even recently, like, I think last week we have Gloria Orwaba, who had like a long month suspension for breaching parliamentary code of conduct.
Yeah, because of the whole end period. Anyway, let me not get into that.
I'm almost done. Like, just, like I'm saying, because like a lot of other younger girls are looking up to these women, and we always have to, regardless of whatever people say, we always have to hold women at a slightly different standard, because we're like, oh, women should like be able to do better. We expect them to do better, especially when they're in those positions. But now if they prove they're as bad as like, the rest of the men, because now let's say...
But we do need better examples of women in politics. I'll just say
that's where I'm going for, because that's what I'm going with. Yeah. And you see, okay, somebody like...
Anne
Waiguru, she had been tied to
buying a biro pen for 50K.
First of all, let's talk about the scandal. Was 791 million scandal. That's how much we're talking about. Okay, let's go to like maybe someone like Senator Tabitha Karanja. Of course, let's tax evasion of over 14.5 billion.
I think that can clear the shift debt.
Exactly. Okay, now we have somebody like, let's say, Millicent Omanga. I don't even know what she does, but no, we have her.
She vied for women's rep.
She didn't win.
Nairobi, but she vied. She was the UDA.
But her car collection is worth over 100 million right now, if I'm not wrong. She's been bringing in like new cars, new Range Rover, new Bentley.
And it's
Bentayga.
the audacity for me.
And she posts, and it's so wild, because now I'm like...
Even Karen Nyamu, by the way.
Karen Nyamu, let's just... For her, if it's not like fighting baby dad, it's like she's just like between like so much that now you're like, hey, we were, honestly speaking, we're expecting women to do
women
slightly...
in politics is quite a shame.
It's crazy
Big
because...
shout out to... and I know I said I don't endorse, and this doesn't mean I'm endorsing But big shout out to Millie Odhiambo, number one, to Martha Karua.
Martha
Because
Karua,
even
amazing.
by
Yeah.
Martha Karua running for president in 2013, that's already breaking a glass ceiling, like nothing you can believe. So big shout out to that, because like otherwise, man,
but even
I
just how
agree
they
with what you're
conduct
saying. As women, we
themselves-
need to be more careful how we represent ourselves.
honestly
Especially
speaking.
when we are coming into these male-dominated spaces. Because I feel like 2/3 gender majority rule, here's the thing. We need to be making women count, not counting women. You know, like, yeah, let's have women that count, not counting women. I'd rather have 2-3 women in government that
But
are
they're
doing
a good job.
good.
Good
Exactly.
job. Good job.
Exactly.
And I think even just conducting themselves like on a day-to-day basis,
Yes.
I mean, honestly speaking, I think the job could be better.
Yeah.
The job could be
But
better.
the women are doing the thing. Right now we have an AG who is a woman. We have a
Who's
CJ
that?
who is a woman. I think her name is Dorcas
Oh,
Odhiambo.
yeah.
Yes.
But that's what I'm saying, like, you know, because if we now go to the men, like there's some people I wouldn't even know where to start. Somebody like Salasia exactly. But-
Salasia,
yeah.
Oscar Sudi. Kwanza, especially these UDA cronies. Let me call
it's
them
great.
that.
You know, it's on the extreme. Even
too much.
it's too much that you're just looking at people. You're
And
like,
they just say anything. That's one thing I've never grasped about Kenyan politicians.
Yeah.
You can just stand and say anything. Let me tell you. Okay, I hope the Subaru Mambaru doesn't find me outside. But I have a video of Esther Passaris at an engagement for 16 days of activism. This is the women's rep Nairobi County. We're in Mukuru kwa Ruben. And what she had to say about rape and femicide, she was saying, if you can find it in yourself to do that to a woman, heri uende ujiue. I'm like, okay, as a representative of the state, your solution to sexual and gender-based violence is suicide. Like, you can stand in front of people and say that you guys didn't like do PR or anything like that.
and at times even like, don't you just go through pointers of what you're going to say? Because that's your only job.
Have you ever seen them do that? By the way, it's very
it
rarely.
scares
they
me
just
because
take the mic and they just start talking.
talking randomly.
Someone says, I'll talk to President Ruto to give you a machine that will make how many chapatis in one day.
Okay, you know.
And I was really shocked because I was like, does he think people are not listening?
Okay, I'll tell you.
Was that a joke?
Maybe it might come out as a joke, but my question was like, with the chapos, Mr. President, it depends now. The conversation needs to be expounded a bit.
Kwani
If
they
you-
eat chapo alone?
No,
Where is
hold
the
on,
budget for
hold,
dengue?
no, hold on. That's why I wanted to say, like, if it's just chapo, Mr. President, like, what's the accompaniment? Are we talking about tea? Is it ndengu? Is it chapo beans? Is it
And
chapo
by the way,
stew?
I think we should
What are we talking
prioritize
about,
giving
man?
our children a very well-balanced diet. Man cannot live on chapati alone.
I think it's so unfortunate, but at times, even when you want, but what I know is, you also have to understand, like, a representation of our government is
a
a representation of
ourselves.
us.
Thank you. That is
It's a
what
representation
I've
of
been
us.
telling people with this
So,
Dentsu story.
Yeah,
Because when you see
It's us.
the backlash that I've gotten online,
yeah,
you realize why these ad agencies are exploiting people.
yeah.
So our government, all these exploitive systems that we are in and that we experience, they are there because we uphold them.
Yeah.
Because come election time, and I'll invite you to watch Softy. Softy is Boniface Mwangi's documentary. I think it's accessible on YouTube.
Okay.
It's a great watch. And it talks about his... Can we please confirm? Because I don't want to misinform.
On YouTube,
When did he run for office? Was it 2013 or 2017? I think it was 2013, to be honest. Because from that documentary, it seemed like a while ago. If it was 2017, I would have remembered.
What was he running for?
MP Starehe. I think so.
Let's see.
I hope I've not spread misinformation.
Yeah, because especially with such things, we want, like, facts at least to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see.
But I think it was 2013.
2017. Boniface Mwangi made his political debut during the 2017 general elections, where he ran for a member of parliament for Starehe constituency.
Okay. At least I had half of the information right.
He
so it was
contested
2017.
under his own Ukweli party.
Yes, his own party, yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's 27. Yeah, that is 2017. So where was I going with that? What were we talking about?
Representation of our country.
Yes, I was talking about, so in his documentary, it highlights his experience in running and how people refused to vote for him because he wasn't giving them money. Like, imagine even if politicians come and they buy for you motorbikes, they'll come, they'll buy for you a motorbike, they'll buy for you a mkokoteni, they'll give you money. That doesn't mean you have to vote for them. That doesn't mean you have to vote for them. And Boina is actually telling these guys, like, you know what I have to offer you? Policy reforms. I have to offer you change that you've never seen before. Like, I'm going to do better for you. And for them, they're like, how can we vote for someone who's broke? Because, and I'm just like, so you're voting for someone who is swimming in money and you don't have anything. And they've made that money. Like, come on, Ruto was the deputy president of this country for 10 years. And before that, he was still in the game. I was watching this video that was, I think, a documentary of Ruto where his family is sitting around the table. And I'm looking, and this must have been like probably even 20 years ago. And I'm 21. And that time he had a Range Rover in his parking,
He's been rich for so long.
He's been
though.
rich for long, and
For
he's been
so
making
long.
that money from
For
public
so long.
office. He's been making that money from politics.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't want, I don't want to get involved because
'Cause,
that's
yeah,
taxpayers' money.
It's almost impossible not to get tangled into like so many. Because we've seen everybody who comes with good intentions, and once they're in there, you just hear
And
like
if you
crickets.
ask me, I feel like the problem with Kenya is leadership. And the minute we make it such that, like, for example, if being a politician or being a public servant was something that was not so lucrative,
Yeah.
maybe
Oh,
I
yeah.
would do it. Let me make my money elsewhere.
Yeah.
Investments, savings, invest, business. But let public office be public office, not a money making scheme. My dad always tells me, if you wanna make money in this Kenya, politics. That's where you do it. That's where all the mega rich in Kenya, they're either in politics or in big corporate where they collude with politicians.
Always. There's always like that mix.
Kina
where,
Safaricom. Yeah, they collude.
but now you see, that's why if you think about all this like in a broad space, that's why I'm saying like it's so because how easy would it even be, or what's the possibility of you fighting like such what's the name that I can use? Such a system that's already in place and seems to be favoring the politicians, and even the locals are already accustomed to it. Because even if we go to the simple things like corruption, there's a time I was asking somebody, like, because a lot of people like are saying like, we don't want corruption, but are Kenyans really ready for a corruption-free Kenya? Why if you just do a mistake,
if you do something bad, go to
you
jail.
go to court, go to
Yeah,
jail immediately.
yeah.
Are Kenyans ready for that though?
That's a good question.
I don't think they are.
That's a very good
Like if
question.
a cop catches you like crossing like like just driving, speeding off, like running lights, maybe on the zebra crossing when you're not supposed to be there, jaywalking. Are we ready for that? Like pay a fine, like how Dubai, like you do like a small
You
mistake,
do the crime, you do the time.
time immediately, or the fines are crazy, like just anything silly, throwing litter, like the way Nani is going around in circles like every other day. This guy for Mazingira, what's his name?
The guy who for noise complaints.
No,
I
it's-
like
yeah,
the
yeah,
way he comes
yeah,
with his
yeah.
measuring machine. It's
He's
like,
measuring. But you see how crazy, like in that everything, like once you set those standards and things start happening in motion,
Yeah.
you see how everything can be held accountable. Like, okay,
Yes.
you guys, you're preaching, lower the volume
But it's
or
true.
close the in. You guys, it's a bar, lower it or close it. This concert, do you have, and it's,
But you see now in Kenya, it's a thing of double standards. The laws are for broke people.
That's
If you
true.
can afford it, you can live how you want. And I think, John, the way we deal with that problem is we all have to get accustomed to doing the right thing. Right now, I'm in uni, and I'll tell you for free, I've never cheated on a test. I've never cheated on a test. If I fail, I'll fail. If I pass, I pass.
What
But
about
that
your
thing
friends?
Of writing, yeah, they cheat, but I don't snitch. I don't
no.
snitch.
But here's the thing. That's what I'm saying. You see, for your case, you're talking about yourself. But now we're talking about a country.
But I'm just
A
saying,
country is all of us.
I hear
cumulatively.
you. And that's why I said we need to get accustomed to doing the right thing. You
Yeah,
know?
no, true.
I can't be standing on a platform of, these exploiters, and then myself, I do things that
The
cheat the
same.
system.
Yeah, as well, yeah.
So we just need to uphold that. And I know people always tell me, because I'm young, that right now it's so easy. And I often read books and biographies, and you'll always hear like, oh, when someone is fresh out of university, ama you're in third, fourth year, your social justice meter is so high.
It's true.
You're just
though.
like, yeah,
It's
you're
true.
like, no, viva, woo! Like you're not having it, So I think like we should hold on to that, because I think like the real world really, I know people who are in advertising.
Yeah.
And you're just like, right now, I need to pay my bills.
Yeah.
But you feel bad. Imagine you go to work every day. People
course.
have been in my DMs telling me I work in advertising and I come home every day and I don't know how to live with myself. But I have to sleep in a bed. I have to eat something when
And
I
you still
wake
have to
up.
wake up and go there tomorrow.
And continue exploiting people.
Yep.
And it's actually when I get texts like that, first, I'm grateful. And second, I don't judge, I get it. Like even me, I don't know if I would like be able to quit a job and you have responsibilities and there's no other opportunities for you.
Yeah.
But where you can do better, because maybe that person in their own right, okay, wait, sorry, let me frame this better. But as much as we talk about Kenyans as individuals and we talk about ourselves as individuals and change starts with me, I think it's very important to look at the system. I attended a forum on anti-corruption, and let me tell you, that was just a waste of money, because what were they doing? We had people from EACC coming to tell us, oh, corruption starts with you. I was like, no, corruption is you.
You're the corruption.
If I cheat my exam, I've really, I understand that's going to create a problem in the future, and I've said that. But right now, my biggest problem is with people who actually sit down in one meeting and mint 400 million. How much do you say? 14 billion in one document. You've signed it like this.
Yep.
I think that is the biggest problem. From
It's
there,
crazy.
your little, even the cops who we bribe on the road, they pay someone at the end of the
Of
day.
course,
that
they
money.
collect. There's somebody on the upper
Yeah,
enemy.
so
And they
that
have
cop
targets.
is not the
They
problem.
have targets as
and
well.
if you don't meet it,
You're getting sent to Wajir.
So you see, I don't think it's going to help us if we keep saying, oh, it starts with me. And let's look at President Ruto and tell him where that mansion of yours, where did you get the money?
But when you're saying such things, aren't you afraid like these guys for kidnap? Because me, I've said
afraid.
it. I've said it enough times on my podcast. I love my country and I love my president. I do not want any smoke because, hey, listen.
I'm afraid.
Because
It's scary.
this is a non-profit podcast. Because first of all, you'll be here recording. The next minute, I'm heading just to go to my barber shop. If
It's scary. And honestly, I meet these activists and I'm just like, wow, Kina Njeri Wamegwe. And actually, there's a time I was having a conversation with Njeri. I don't think she'll even remember it. I don't want to make it sound like I know her. No, we met at a certain forum being held by KHRC, and I just was talking to her, and she said, "Yeah, I'm scared. I'm always so scared. And when they catch me, I'm scared." And it was so interesting to hear her say that, because sometimes you think of these activists, because nowadays, by the way, I know I say I'm an activist, but I think activism these days is just common sense, but these are activists, and you think they are so fearless, they are scared. Do you know, I have a video that I post a lot on my close friends. I have a video from the day I posted even that video for Dentsu. I was freaking out. I was scared. I was just anxious. I was sweating. I was shaking. I was like, my goodness, what have I done? What have I done? What have I done? And then I was like, I'm glad I've posted it, but at the same time, if people don't pick up on it, I could really be doing something crazy here, So I was really freaking out. So I can only imagine those cases of abductions. You don't want it to be you, but at the same time, you feel like you also just can't sit down and keep quiet when that's their point. They're trying to make you scared so that you don't say anything.
One thing I'll give them credit for, and of course you can still correct me. No, listen.
Credit?
Yeah. I'll tell you why.
Credit. The hospitals give them enough credit.
Kenyan police and the government, they don't really... They try their best not to hurt women. They try their...
That's a lie.
No, listen.
That's a lie.
No, listen.
No,
They
I don't
try their
agree.
best.
Let me tell
Forget
you.
about the isolation of the dump site. How many women have been
Did you not
abducted?
see this thing that happened on X the other day? Was it yesterday or the day before? This activist journalist who was
Listen, I know.
allegedly abducted, and the
Yeah.
marks she had on her
But
head.
that's one
No.
incident.
Let me tell you from my
From
perspective.
you know why I'm saying that. Let me just finish.
That's
why?
not
Okay,
true.
let me finish, and then you can jump in, right? You can, of course, and like remember, it's open conversation. You just tell me what you think.
I don't
Because
think that's true.
how I have seen it, it's like they've collected like men, like from like the lowest social circle to Boniface Mwangi. They see you talk too much, come for you. But women, we have very isolated cases. Because if that was the case, they wanted to pick up women very easy. They would pick a lot because a lot of women are very vocal.
When I went for Mandamano,
Yeah.
I had the same mentality as you. Like,
Yeah.
even if they catch me, they won't beat me. Until we were in a running match with some cops, and then we entered some restaurant with my friends, and immediately we had entered. I think we were like the last people in.
Yeah.
And it was that first week of Mandamano, the week before 25th.
Yeah.
I think, the week before 25th. Especially that time, like, people were so supportive. People in town who are going about their business, they're singing, they're like, "No, Chonge, okay. Yeah, we stand with you, we support you." And even the restaurant owners were letting us in. It's later on, the more they continued, the more people were like trying to keep us out and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But this was the first days when people were being supportive. So we ran in with a group of the people we were with. They immediately closed the nini behind us, right? The door. Then someone runs in this side, and this side it's like a gate. The watchman locks it.
Yeah.
To look out the window, one girl was left, and she was a babe. And I watched her get beaten, like with that stick. And that's when I was paralyzed. I was even scared of getting out of that restaurant because I was like, that was, first of all, the first Tuesday. I think it was January 8th, June 8th or 6th, the first one that started. And I was just paralyzed. And I remember like being with my friends and looking at each other and like actually admitting like we are scared. Like,
but let me tell you why I said that, because that's what I'm saying. Like, also still remember at the end of the day, still when you're thinking as a man, and let's say if we are cops, who would be the easiest people to catch, men or women?
I'm not gonna answer that.
No, listen. And this is not like a battle of like, women run faster, men run faster.
It's
no.
circumstantial.
If I'm a cop and I have a target to arrest 15 or 20 people, who do you think my target would be? If they say like, listen, both men and women, you catch whoever you can. Who do you think my target would be? Who would I go for? Who would be the easiest target to like just catch?
It's circumstantial. Maybe like
I think we both know
someone
that.
who looks a bit obese.
I understand, but I think
maybe
we both know the answer.
Who
I would pick just 20 women. I'd be like, guys, don't worry. Give me 30 minutes.
Give me 30 minutes. Meet a Faith Kipyegon or something.
That's one. That's one. I have 19. Where are the other 19 Faith Kipyegons? I'm telling you. But I'm just saying, like,
assuming that guys run fast.
They do.
No.
They do. Even according to the Olympics, Bolt runs way much faster compared to like who's the lady? The lady with the nails and stuff, like a short lady.
Shakari Richards.
Like, you can't compare her speed with like men's 100 meters. That's we're just talking about facts and data. Like, that's just where men run way much faster. They said actually high schoolers run way much faster than professional Olympic 100-meter sprinters, women, champs. And that's just facts.
Okay.
So if I'm a cop, no, but that's what I'm saying. Like, cops, even at the back of their head, they still know. Like, if we were to hurt, it would be a possibility they would hurt more women. But they don't. Because they still, at the end of the day, you still have a conscience.
But
that's
you know
why
what?
it's still there.
I feel like that's still what I was talking about, gender roles and sexism.
Yeah.
Like, issues are gendered, because we have this idea of gender roles and stuff like that. That's why something like police brutality affects men more.
No,
Because
true.
men are supposed to be violent, they're supposed to know how to feel pain.
Yeah.
And you know what else is science? That women have a higher pain tolerance than men. I think it's the whole childbirth thing.
Oh, actually, that's
Yeah.
true. That's true.
But women actually have a much higher pain tolerance
Yeah.
than men. Like, I might punch you and you'll play it off like you did in hurt. But if you punch me, I'll feel less pain than you did. Even though
I
I'll
get
still feel it
no, I
hurt.
get that. That part I get.
Yeah. So, even these things are gendered. So even when you find women advocating for let's dismantle the patriarchy, let's dismantle gender roles, men benefit from that too. Because a police somewhere brutalizes young men, young boys, because they think that they're supposed to be able to take it.
True.
It gets to a point where actually in this Kenya, if you're a man and maybe you're 25 years old and you've never been arrested, whether rightfully or wrongfully, it's almost impossible.
True.
They just see you and they just say, "We kijana tunaingia na wewe
Also,
ndani."
so you actually care about men as well.
Yeah, of course I care about
I thought
men.
you just picked like the side of like just it's just women, by the guys are bad, but but I'm just saying like
let me tell you another thing about men.
yeah.
Men's problems are not caused by women. Largely, no. Actually, if it's violence against men, mostly it's done by other men. If it's police brutality, who are those police? Do you find women police? Not that much. A woman police will just probably hustle you for a bribe,
I'll give you another
Not
statistic
that much.
that might shock you.
I mean,
One out of every 5 or 6 men in committee are in prison because of a woman, or even if it's not directly, it's indirectly.
okay.
Maybe they were stealing to provide.
Oh, okay.
Maybe passions of crime. Somebody was sleeping with my wife. But it's almost correlated to that, and that's just also part of research and stats, which I'll pull up on like maybe a snippet so that somebody does not think I'm not doing my research. But it's always some slightly correlated, even if it's not directly. Oh, Nani insulted my, Nani abused my, so it's always still kind of tied to.
Like, let me tell you that story.
Yeah.
If you want to, we were talking about relationships and what and all. One thing I cannot stand is like when a guy thinks that he can fight my battles for me. Like, I hate that. Like,
Protect and provide.
No.
That's a job of a man.
oh my goodness. Like, don't fight my battles for me.
What?
If right now someone is I'm getting trolled on the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's say hypothetically maybe I have a boyfriend. I would feel really weird if he was there fighting with my trolls in the comments. Like,
It's like, yo, I'll catch you, but I'll look for you.
Like, no, stop it. Like, okay, maybe
Yeah.
if you want to protect, even though I don't think like it's a man's business to protect me, to be honest. Like, protect yourself. But like maybe the way I could interpret that is like maybe be there for me. Like today someone asked me, how are you feeling? Like, are you okay? And I was like, oh my God. Like, who has asked me that? Everybody has told me, oh, I've seen this thing online. But like, that's one person who's asked me, like, are you okay? You're like, how are you feeling? How's like your mental health? Is it affecting you? And I'm fine. But
so it hasn't affected you in any way, like
I wouldn't say like it's affected me in terms of like my self-esteem.
Yeah.
But it's not been easy. It's been heavy. Let me put it that way. It's a lot.
You have to adjust.
Yeah.
Kinda, like,
so probably instead of being in the comments, coming at my trolls, just like help me carry it and just encourage me and be like, hey, baby, I'm proud of what you're doing. You're doing the right thing. I'm glad that you're doing what you're doing. And I'm sure other people are glad that you're doing what you're doing. So if I'm in a situation, maybe if I'm in a situation where someone has actually launched like a physical attack on me, it might be a bit different. Like if someone came back at them.
Yeah.
But even still, I would say do it in a way that you're not revenging.
No.
I don't think that's right.
Are you telling the pressure shouldn't be as much if they're protecting you?
No, protecting is not
protecting
revenging.
you.
That's not no, because like even me, if I'm in
Are
a
you
situation,
telling me if somebody's attacking you,
even
and I'm
if
there as
I'm
a
in a
guy,
situation,
shouldn't protect you?
Yeah, leave it alone. I didn't ask you to jump in and help me.
No. Okay, now that's why I said very important, something very important. at times we need to protect women for themselves, from themselves. Because because you've made that decision, but understand, as a guy, maybe I'm looking at the situation, I'm like, she might not be here tomorrow if I let this proceed.
Okay, my idea of
You see?
protect me is maybe you see a fist coming at me,
Yeah.
right? Stop the fist.
Mhm.
Let me get away from there. Even you get away from there.
And then,
But
that's we move
what
away.
normal. Yeah,
Okay.
not at now. I start. Oh, you thought you were going to. Like, that's not how you deal with violence. You don't return the violence.
Okay, I
you know?
get you. I get
Even
you.
if I'm in a situation where, and I get very protective. Like, I have a sister.
Yeah.
I would probably kill someone if I saw a situation.
There you go.
If I saw a
You see-
situation where
You see, even for you,
maybe
you know, like how you
something
be.
really, really bad was
Yeah.
happening to her. But at the same time, I said I probably would, but I don't think I would, because like we should have systems in place to deal with these kind of things.
You know,
But I
you know
don't
that's not
I don't
practical.
believe in
You know that,
people.
right?
I don't believe in people fighting my battles for me, especially men. Especially if it's like a shouting match. Like if we are sitting
Yeah.
here, the two of us, and you start shouting at me,
Yeah.
I don't expect someone else to come in and say, "Stop shouting at her." Like, let me first talk for myself. You know?
But you know, you don't get to choose that. Somebody is just doing what they think is right, and that's why, like, remember the incident where like there's this lady who was trying to stab like the boy. It was like a CCTV leaked footage. Some lady was trying to like stab like the boyfriend or something, and then the boyfriend is hiding with like a pillowcase or like a nini cushion like this. If somebody enters that room, the first person that you're trying to talk out of that situation is the person who's like with a weapon.
Yeah.
And God forbid if like now violence is the only way that you can make her put the knife down. And that's why like there's somebody who was saying it like it's very sensitive, because at times when you say you should never hit a woman, it's very sensitive when you say that, because
Self-defense and all that.
exactly, because we've seen these incidents. What if somebody has picked a weapon and they are attacking you?
No, by all means, hit them.
First, you have to look up. You're trying to survive.
But even in that case for self-defense, and that's what I was just trying to say right
Yeah.
now, is yes, you're doing what you need to do to get yourself and
Out
maybe
of
the
that
other person
situation.
out of that situation. Not now that thing where it's like, I'm gonna
now we
show
start.
you.
Now we
I'm
start
gonna
beating them.
show
Oh,
you.
okay, now
Yeah.
following up with the beating.
Yeah, no. But I
Okay.
can understand, like, especially where there's that physical violence.
Yeah.
Yeah, there'll need to be a way to,
To
what is
neutralize.
the time?
No. Yeah. We are done. Actually, we are done. So don't worry. We are done. So now, anyway, but I think like we can save like so anything else for like part 2.
There's a part 2.
Hey, come on. By the end of the year.
I might just have to be your co-host.
Hey, guys, you hear that? No, but I'm just saying, since you don't stay far, like, if something happens and, you have a very nice way of presenting things. And it's so crazy because, like you said, this is your first podcast. I'm just shocked. Like,
My first time on a podcast. I've been on radio, though. But
okay, radio. Did they give? But radio, they have like a certain slot. Like we're doing this maybe 30 minutes, 20 minutes.
yeah. Ooh,
Yeah.
it is way different.
So
And then
everything
there's
has
an
to be
ad
punchy,
break and, yeah.
ad break. But like a podcast,
And
you
it's
really
also very
get to
prepared. Like you'll know,
Yes.
like, okay, first we're going to talk about this.
this and then this. But podcast,
And even
you
when I
can-
record, actually,
Yeah.
most times, takes me a few times. Like, if you'll notice, my recordings are cuts. So I'll say things, and then at the end I'm sitting with like so much footage,
Oh, and then you
I'm
start
trying
picking.
to speak. Yeah, so it takes a while. Yeah, the only ones where I'll like pick up and record is now when I'm commenting on something, those 1 minute things.
yeah.
And I think sometimes I can because I have experience in public speaking. I'm a
Yeah.
trained, award-winning public
I've
speaker.
seen your social media and I was like, yo,
Yeah.
I see a very bright future in you.
Oh, thank you.
So please don't switch up on us when you get in those positions.
No.
Because like, listen, just by here, like just, hey, advocating Nini, and then next minute it's like, guys, I'm sorry, I did
I ain't
not
no
know.
sellout. No,
Please don't.
no.
I mean, try your best when you get in those positions because you're the voice of reason in your generation. Like you've noticed, like even from you posting that, whatever you post about Dentsu, you have to understand you're the voice of reason. Other people might not know what you're doing now. That's good for them. But in future, they will understand what you're talking about.
That's
Just
exactly what I
just
said
just
in
because
the
you're different, it
comments.
doesn't mean
Yeah.
that you're wrong. You're on the right track because you're speaking about like issues that need to be addressed and
Yeah.
change that needs to come.
Yeah.
Because if you don't talk about it, like, and most people, they don't know better, but you do know better.
Yeah.
So don't expect that from other people.
Thank you. I just say
Yeah.
my motive in this life is to agitate, educate, celebrate.
Yeah.
Usually you finish that by saying liberate, but it's not for me to liberate anyone. It's for you to liberate yourself. So once I've educated you and I've agitated you, because like I feel like after listening to my videos, I hope you get very upset.
Yeah.
And I hope you scrunch your face like this and you say, I'm mad, you know. I know someone who identifies as an angry feminist. And as someone who has tried to tear down the narrative of the angry feminist, it felt so good to see someone like own that and say, you know what, I'm pissed.
Yeah, I'm
the
upset.
other day I was asking people, being a Kenyan woman is to be, being a Kenyan woman is to be angry. Like, and I really resonated with that, you know. So I hope you
I
guys
get you.
get very angry.
Yeah.
Like, we have everything to be mad about.
They'll understand later, though. The ones who don't understand, that's it. Okay, so now, as we wind up, just tell people where they can find you, your social media platforms. I mean, like, I think that's the only thing we can, because like, I think we've actually talked about a lot.
Everything, right?
And for my case, like, I'm always, trust me, it's like I was already looking at the time, but I'm always trying to push, like, see how much more can we?
I
So,
feel
but
bad
for
'cause
now,
I left my friend in your sitting room.
what about this
I'm sure by now
Netflix
she's
and everything?
slept.
Really? No, but
We've been doing exams, so we're pretty tired.
Yeah.
I came from an exam room straight here.
So tell the people where they can find you by then, then we wrap it up.
I'm very easy to find. My name is Tatiana Gicheru on all social media platforms. Yeah, I hope you're not looking for me physically. That's scary, but hey, please send me a DM. I love to have conversations. I always say my content is not about me talking at or talking to, but it's us talking with each other. So I try my best, even if the comments are how many, I try my best to respond to them. I try my best to respond to messages. And yeah, I never want to be that person that's like, I don't respond to people's DMs.
Yeah.
So you can find me there, and also follow Kenyani Mimi, Kenyani Wewe, Kenyani Sisi Sote. That's the organization we run. You can become part of our community, join our events. We do a lot of advocacy work. We do a lot of educative work, and we do a lot of mental health work as well. We try and make sure that we take care of people. And yeah.
That's it for now.
And maybe next time you'll find me here on John's podcast.
Hey, guys, hear that? No, but we'll definitely make it more frequent because, like I said, you're much closer. And I think if there's an issue that needs to be a social issue that can be addressed, I mean, you're welcome to the platform. We can always like just, you know.
Now next time we just come and talk government. Yeah.
Those abductions now. What's going to happen with
And
abductions?
KE.
Okay, yeah, but, you know, that's why I think that's the best person to actually bring in this platform to talk about somebody who's specialized, and this is just something they are interested in. So, like, even when you're coming with your facts and just like, you know, future projections. I think that's important, especially from someone from your generation, because at times you hear somebody like, a lot of young people, they just say like, you know, me, I'm not into politics. Yet,
How can you not be into politics?
that affects the cost of your food, the cost of where you're living,
education, access,
transport,
complaining about not having a job,
all
complaining
those
about
things.
Dentsu. I think it all boils down.
Everything is all politics.
Politics.
So it's still tied to everything. So till next time, guys, we have to say goodbye for now.
Bye. Not sponsored by Coca-Cola.
The Kisscapades podcast is your gateway to holistic growth and personal transformation. Together, we'll unlock the secrets to living a life of health, wealth, love, and happiness. So make sure to tune in every week and join us as we explore the essence of what it means to truly thrive. And lastly, show us some love and support in our social media platforms from Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, basically all the social media platforms that, you know, support podcasting will definitely be there. Even with the short clips and reels, you can find us there. And lastly, don't be shy with feedback, suggestions, or any questions that you might have in regards to the episodes or our podcast. It's the Kisscapades Podcast. Goodbye.